Good evening, folks. Welcome to Him Plays. I'm Nightbites, and I am the Games Master today. Him Plays is a channel for RPG and tabletop gaming from Hobby Gamers International. We run games on a 3-week rotation with a rotating cast of players and Games Masters. We also do occasional specials where we look at new games and play online board games and chat about all things gaming. Today I will be running Crimson Skies, which is about the crew of a company-owned airship in a world where America has fragmented to the point that international transport is less viable by road and more viable by air, hence airships and sky pirates. The players are the crew of this airship and currently trying to salvage wreckage from a sunken warship from about 60 years beforehand. So with me today, playing those characters, we have going from left to right on my screen, Druttercup, Robinson, Looper, and Shard Angel. Would you care to introduce yourselves, starting again with Drut?
I'm playing Masha. Alleged commando of these people. She is from Ukraine. Is former circus pilot, but circus was actually bandits, and when she decided to leave, she left with a certain amount of their property, and they would very much like to find her again. Now she works on bad debt. Somehow she feels like she is mother to all of these chickens.
Very, very apt description there. Robinson.
Okay, I'm playing Merlin, who's British, because I can't do accents, and he's a well-educated engineer who's moved over to the US to get funding for his project, but also at some point had his research stolen, and that led to him eventually signing up with a bad debt and assisting with their escapades, so to say.
Thank you, Robinson. Looper.
I'm playing Moody, who is an ex-military muscle for hire, tasked with protecting Merlin and his prototype, the Hakuge, which is a super cool plane that can also land on the ocean and has been very useful in our attempts to locate this sunken wreckage of a ship, which is going to feature heavily in today's episode.
And last but by no means least, Shard.
I'm playing Dr. Uttercup, aka Mithra. She doesn't have any of the seedy past of everyone else. She's just, from the Alaskan bush, which, fair enough. Can't really get in too much trouble up there and get caught for it. Learned to fly really young, but went to school for medical stuff and is now one of the highest flying doctors in the Broken States.
Thank you all. Now, as a quick catch-up and plot synopsis, two main things happening. One is the run-up to a series of air races in this region of the country, where Midas, who's currently absent tonight, will be racing, and possibly Masha as well. Masha did sign up and has yet to decide whether to race or not. But also, the crew have found a safe in the wreckage of a Civil War era ship and are currently in the process of trying to bring it to the surface, which is roughly where we join the action. Now, as I understand it, folks, your plan is to ferry some equipment from the bad debt down to the Hakuge.
Yep.
To dive down with extra pipes and a bunch of essentially airbags.
Yeah.
Attach it all to the safe, fill the airbags with air, and float it to the surface.
Like the opposite of a hot air balloon.
Yep.
Not entirely unlike how they brought the Mary Rose to the surface.
Yeah, I remember that. We had to watch it at school.
Wasn't
Yes.
there a proposal for raising the Titanic as well, which basically just involved putting loads of balloons inside it?
Huh.
That was actually the plot to raise the Titanic.
And also was considered until such point as they realised the Titanic was in 2 parts, and people objected because it's a mass grave.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
trying to raise it with as much degradation as occurred, it would just disintegrate as it was being lifted up.
Probably.
Please see the Mary Rose for future detail, for further details, which have been down there a shitload longer.
Fair.
Yes.
Very, very sink because they put too many weapons on it.
Not too many weapons on it, just everything was biased to one side because it was doing a show-off thing.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
doing a parade, basically.
Yes.
A sail. I was going to say a flyby. It was doing a sail blast.
Who made that decision? Like, you got to keep a boat balanced.
Someone who didn't want to explain to Henry VIII why his flagship didn't look that great.
Why can I only see half the guns I put on that thing?
Oh, too many on board. It would have flooded, turning either way.
Oh, right.
Fair enough.
Because I've always, I remember that fact, and I always use this whenever I make stuff in games that is just as many guns as I can put on it as physically possible. I always name it the Mary Rose class.
Oh my gosh.
I have experienced that in Imperion, where I realised that I perhaps misladen my hovercraft.
When it comes to any pirate style,
Do we
When it
have
comes-
people making sure that all of our ships and stuff are not like side heavy?
That would be
Area
nice.
I'm
is
assuming
fine.
that the
Yeah,
crew of the
I-
Badet
I'm in
understands
charge
how
of
to.
making sure the bad debt doesn't fall over. It's okay.
I don't know that actually makes me feel better.
I know that I wish this wasn't water.
Judge of Doom. I wanna dive again. I wanna go.
do you want to dive? Do you really want? Are you hyped? You're getting better at this.
I'm a little bit worried about the negatives from
Push.
the phobia, but more scary eels, yes. More
There was
scary
only
eels.
one.
More eels.
It's the screaming eels.
Don't forget that you found an easier way of getting down there,
Yes.
Big old.
so that all you really have to do is get the safe pulled to the hole, so that we can attach everything and let it float up on its own.
Yeah.
Of course, you
And
still got to
I can
remove it from where it is
probably-
currently.
Yeah. I'm getting the crowbars from the bad debt too, right?
Yep.
They have. I'm sure they have stuff like that laying around.
So, Mash, while the crew are getting all the bits and pieces ferried from the Bad Debt down to the Hakugate, what are you up to? Because you were having tea with the Brits. Literally.
I had tea with the Brits. I then landed at the race location with Midas and refueled with the intent of heading straight back out, because at least one person has been murdered in the pursuit of this ship. Because the Brits' theories about ghost ships or not. The dead body we found in the not haunted house.
Yeah.
It wasn't
was-
haunted.
Now, as I said, not haunted. Was very physical and very, very dead. Which means there are at least 2 other factions out there, at least one of which is willing to kill for this. So I wanted to get back and provide air cover.
Raiders!
Alright, Oliver, good evening. Thank you for that raid and host.
Thank you very
Good
much
evening to
indeed.
you all. Welcome to the
You are
channel.
welcome. You are welcome indeed. So,
Given
yeah,
the-
basically Masha is reloading and heading back to towards the Bad Debt to provide air cover in case any of the boats that were in that vicinity decide to look threateningly at her crew.
Okay. So it's taken a bit of time to ferry the stuff down, but at roughly the time that Masha is returning, you are set to start diving. Any
Can we just bring, like, so we've just brought our diver up, you know, the painfully slow process.
Yep.
Brought the equipment down, and then we're just gonna send our diver back down again.
And then painfully slowly again. So
To
we
be
can
hon-
lower her faster, or we can lower her faster than we can raise her.
painfully slowly, so that the surfacing isn't actually painful.
Painfully slowly is the non-painful version, as opposed to raising quickly, which is the painful version, although it's not called painfully quickly.
Honestly, for Moody, most of the pain is psychological since she's very terrified of deep waters.
Next time,
True.
take the Sudoku with you.
So was that take the Hackagay
I'm
down with you?
lucky
Did you
to
say?
have...
Okay, so Lupa, would you care to make sure that you've got everything you need before you step over? What are you taking down with you? Keep in mind you're wearing this big ass
taking-
clunky diving gear.
Yes, I'm taking the crowbar.
Yep.
Maybe I'll take 2 crowbars just in case. Can I carry that?
You've got 2
Can I
hands.
carry two crowbars? Is it 2 or 3 of the balloon thingies?
How many
We'll
did
just
you
rig
want
up
to
a harness that you can easily untie when you're down there. We'll tie
Yeah.
everything to your back.
Yeah.
That way you're
Well,
free
I've got the
to-
big diving suit, so I can probably just tie stuff all over it.
Mhm.
I would imagine, and having more weight to get me down there faster is probably not a bad thing. So 2 crowbars, as many of the air bladders as we could get, and then the extra air tube, right?
Okay. Cool.
Do I need anything else?
Just an athletics roll, please.
Well,
Remember, you're at -1 because of the phobia of the deep water. Oh,
Yeah,
if you
should
want
I
to actually
use-
succeed at athletics, you can use a chip.
you do.
I'm going.
I haven't given you chips yet this morning, this afternoon, today, this evening. Have a chip each.
I have so many still.
You're gonna have
Okay,
more
guys, please.
because you get each player, apart from Dr. Uttercup, gets 3 chips. Because Dr.
I get
Uttercup is
2, 'cause I
unlucky
am
and only
unlucky.
gets 2.
I have so many chips because for some reason I don't make many rolls, and the ones I do are always on the one thing I'm really good at.
That's just optimization. Lupa could be a bit louder.
Lupa could be a bit louder. Okay, let's move Lupa up a fraction. There we go. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna. Okay, there we go. That's better. Did it record it though?
It
Do you
didn't.
see it? That's weird. Okay, well it was a better roll, but I'm gonna do it again so that you can see it.
Okay.
Okay. Is it not showing up? What's happening?
Are you rolling in the chat box?
Yeah.
If you
let me
double
try it one more time.
saw the dice go
Better.
that time, that's better. There we go.
There we go. Okay, that's fine.
Very good roll.
Okay.
Okay, so
I will just like for the sake of transparency that the original roll was an 8 that didn't get recorded, in case that matters.
you definitely step over the side of the flying boat into the water and begin your descent down to the wreck. So again, taking with you crowbar, the extra pipe, and the air bladders to fill things up. You reach the wreck and step through the shortcut. Now you know where the safe is.
Yes.
Definitely
And the
sidestepping.
shortcut is where the eel was, right?
Yes.
So it's down that room and then just one over.
That's
and up
exactly
into the
right,
next
yes.
room. Okay. Okay.
And now you can try and work out how to remove the safe from its current location, which is
Yes.
attached to what would have been the left wall of the room it's in, but of course is now the ceiling of the roof of the room that it's in.
I know it's an ironbound ship. Is it actually just in the wall, attached to wooden frame and whatnot?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's different than I was thinking because I thought it was like just like the safe and then it had like feet that were attached, but it's actually built into the wall.
It's not built in. It is attached. Just possibly I misheard what Shard said, but where you've got the left wall and what would have sorry, let's get that. Okay, you got the left wall and what would have been the floor. Is attached at
Yeah.
both points. It's
At
not.
both
It's
points,
not a
okay.
built-in unit. It is attached. It's a big
Okay.
old iron safe.
So it has points where there are like bolts or something
Yep.
holding it down. So I'm gonna try to crowbar
Okay.
the bolty part.
Let's have another athletics roll for using brute force.
Okay. Yay! Yay! Strunk.
Yes, there is a reason Moody is one of the people doing this.
Okay.
I built her to be very good at very specific things.
Like punching things and breaking things.
Yes.
Right. Having just thrown a few chips in myself,
Oh, good.
Yay.
Rip the safe out of the wall, leaving a gap through which the shark can swim in effect.
Drut, get out of my head.
Also, if it's a shark, it's gonna be less scary to Moody because it's big enough for her to punch it in the face.
Exactly. I'm
It's-
gonna punch
it's
it.
bigger
If
than
a
the eel you
shark, I'm
faced
gonna punch
earlier.
it. Yeah.
So, you're levering the crowbar against the wall and against the floor to try and pry it out where it's bolted down. And after several minutes' work, in really, really awkward situations, because of course it's above you and at the top of the room.
Yeah, I'm like
and
at one point upside down, bracing against the top, like trying to crow it.
all of a sudden, the whole lot gives way. Another athletics roll, please, to not be under this as the whole thing falls.
That's a good idea. Oh well.
You-
I'm still taking negatives, right?
You're still taking negatives and you still have chips.
Yeah, chips.
Chips.
I
Well-
feel like using chips is cheating sometimes because the dice want me to fail once in a while.
Well, the only time that you can't use chips is if you rolled a failure.
Yeah, if you're on a
Like,
critical
oh,
failure,
That's
double
true.
ones.
My rule is if I get a low roll twice in a row, like if I get a low roll and I use a chip and then I get another low roll, the dice want me to fail on that, so I'm just gonna listen to them.
Fair.
Okay,
Dice are not the boss of me.
we know that, Drat. We dread when you need to use the dice, and at any point you need to use a chip, we know something went wrong. Your luck with dice is phenomenal. Okay, so Moody, and for those that are listening to the pipes up in the Hakuge, Moody, there's all of a sudden something is very easy because the safe has shifted, and in an eruption of dust and silt that's built up, presumably on the layers above where you are, you lose sight of everything.
Yeah.
Instinctively, you push yourself backwards, knowing that behind you was relatively safe. As everything begins to settle, and the light stops reflecting off the dust and silt, and you can actually see around you, the wall and floor that the safe was attached to are still attached to the safe, but the safe's now
Yeah.
down below you, which means there's a chunking great hole directly above where the safe is.
That just makes everything easier. Because
And
that
there's-
just goes right out into the water, right?
Yep, and looking down, the safe is not just at the floor of the right-hand wall of the room that you're in, but has gone through that
Yeah. Okay.
and is now further down than it was.
That makes sense.
But contrary
Chat,
to
what is
previous
happening?
intimations, there is no shark.
Oh.
There could be if one of us spent one of our chips and said, "Hey, we're influencing the story by adding a shark." That is a perfectly acceptable use of a chip.
Yeah, if you want to, if you want to use a
No.
chip,
I want
the-
to have
to the-
the shark from Finding Nemo.
So cute.
Oh, influencing the story. I would like to spend a chip, and when she pulls it down and the silt starts clearing out, she actually discovers a small coral reef that started growing inside with a bunch of colorful fish in it.
Oh, beautiful.
What's that? Inside the
I
safe,
mean,
you
it-
want that?
No. In the hole where the safe came
Oh,
from.
okay, yes. That's... Yes, we can go with that,
I
yes.
suppose
You
it's
can
the
spend a chip for
equivalent
that.
Finding mushrooms behind an old wardrobe.
If you want
Oh
to...
no, is Moody gonna grab the coral reef and bring it up, then grind it up and then sniff it?
No.
I mean, that's what you do. Well, you eat mushrooms, but I was thinking
Oh my
mushrooms,
God.
drugs.
Unfortunately, this would be totally wasted on her because she's really not, like,
It's-
she's not that observant and she's not that into, like, looking at pretty stuff. So she'd just be like, oh, get out of here, fish. And then get on with the job.
Well, again, with the settling of the sill, you can see up above you can see through the floor to the next layer at least, and there are indeed a lot of pretty little fish swimming around in that hole that's just been created where the safe came down from. Now, you've got a couple of problems with around your immediate situation.
Yes.
One's fairly easily solved, I suspect, in the all the hose pipes and stuff that you brought have snaked through the way that you came and could feasibly go straight up through the hole. And the other thing being that the safe has gone through the wall below where you came in. So it's now still equally awkward to get to, it's just not actually attached to anything but silt.
Yeah. So basically my two options are to try to send it up through the hole that it just made by taking it off the wall or taking the wall off the wall, or to send it up the way we planned, which might be easier since I'm gonna have to go back down that direction anyway to get it, right?
The easier option would be for it to go through the hole that it's made, assuming that everything
Okay.
else above it would still fit through.
Okay.
Because it's gone through the wall of the room, and you'd have to lift it up and then get it out the door that you came through to get into that room.
That's fair. So is it like a straight shot? Like if I go and inflate the balloons right now where it is, it's just gonna go straight up?
Not straight up. If once you've inflated the balloons, it starts lifting, you will need to guide it
Oh, okay, that's
because
fair.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of
Okay, I'm
sharp
gonna do
bits
that.
of wood that could break a balloon.
So you're gonna have
Puncture
us
balloon.
pump some air down for you, tie a few of them on there, inflate a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm assuming that the attachment of the, well, maybe I don't want to do that. My plan was to kind of tie the things on just around it.
Yep.
So I'm gonna still do that. I like the music ominously ending right after I said
And this is how it ends.
So, can I have an unskilled roll, please, for tying things to the safe?
yes.
With
Oh.
clunky fingers.
Is this
Oh.
this unskilled at the top? Is that for
It's-
real?
It's the one at the bottom. I'm not sure what the unskilled one is there. It looks like it's duplicated, so it's the one at the bottom.
Yeah.
I'll-
Okay,
It's in
one at the bottom.
for
Oh
reasons.
dear, this is okay.
D4 -2.
Yeah.
Did we not teach her how to do a knot?
Ouchie. Apparently.
Um,
How would I not know how to do a knot?
can
Hold on.
I don't know if Robin or if Merlin knows how to tie knots, but would one of us be able to try and help her tie a knot by telling her how to?
Again, chips are
Just on
valid
the
as
option.
I'm going to tell you. Okay, so you need
There
to
we
make,
go.
you need to make the bunny ear, and then you go round the.
the rabbit comes up through the hole, round the tree, back to...
She'd be down at. Why are you talking about rabbits? Just tell me how to tie a knot.
Also, there's no trees down here.
Okay, you've
What are
successfully
you
tied
talking
these to the safe, and now you can start inflating.
Okay. I'm gonna let them know through the comms that I'm doing all of this as I'm doing it, so they're prepared.
Just
for this.
just let us know when they're filled enough for you to move. We don't want it to be stuck to the roof with too much air. Ceiling.
Why would-
If it's too
Okay.
full and up against the top, you're gonna have to try and pull it down
Yeah,
to
that
push it
makes
through the
sense.
hole. You want it
Okay.
to be buoyant. You don't want it to be.
I'm gonna try to guide it as close to just going straight through the hole as I can, but I'll keep you
Okay.
updated on
All
how
right.
it's going.
Would this pump be like one of those pole engines?
No, we're not quite
a good
at.
question.
I think it's more of a manually
crank.
pump crank thing.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Then I will do it for a little bit, and then I will force Merlin to do some too, because my arms are not like buff like the person downstairs.
Oh my
Do
god.
I actually have any physical ability?
It's not. It doesn't need a vast amount of physicality to turn the crank. You're not
Okay.
No,
pushing
but
against a vast amount of resistance. All it needs is a little stamina to keep
Stamina.
going for a while.
This is making me think of when you're a little kid and you're feeling water balloons from the hose, and you have to have your friend turn the hose on, and then you have to yell and tell them to stop when it's full enough.
And then it explodes in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
memo,
fun.
don't just open the tap with one hand holding the hose and just whack it up.
Well, in terms of-
Wait, it wind up in the next goal.
In terms of stamina, I've got a 6, not D6,
Don't worry,
D8 for vigor.
we're not needing the stamina checks yet.
I know.
You've only just started on the air crank for this. Drut, and indeed Shard and Robinson.
Uh-huh.
The mists that have surrounded this area are now clearing.
Ooh, we broke the spell!
Actually, I was on the verge of using a Benny for a high
Oh.
wind or stiff breeze, anyway.
Yeah, the wind is picking up and the mist is clearing. It's not producing a vast amount of swell, so things aren't overly dangerous for the Hakuge yet.
Oh god.
use that to practice tying knots. So hang on, what are we talking here? The eel comes out of the reef, runs around the back of the ship, and dives back down the hole. Is that not how you learn to tie knots? Pretty much
Doing
how I
that
learned
live
it, guys.
It is
emo
not-
kind of-
Yeah, I do try. I try and keep up with chat, but as when I get involved in various parts of the scene, I do lose chat and then have to catch up
It's
with
fine.
it.
Yeah, I do the same. I can't look at chat and roleplay at the same time, so I have to.
This
Yeah,
is it.
I do.
I don't have to because I'm not doing anything at the moment, so I can keep an eye on chat. It's my job today, anyway.
Now, with the mists
There you go.
clearing, Drut, Masha can
Yep.
see from her elevated angle that the fishing vessel is still there. You've now got a good eye line to the fishing vessel.
Is it wrong? I just want to sink it.
No one would ever know.
Well,
Hey,
the family of the people on board the ship would.
No, they
it
wouldn't know that it was. Yeah.
I still do not trust it, although they were pretty much cleared by Midas. So I think I am just going to fly patrol sweeps. I will take a closer flyby now that I'm not in danger of flying into it because I can actually see where I'm going.
Okay. How close of a flyby is closer?
How big is the swell?
Not particular. It's a gentle rolling sea, is what you've got at the moment.
Right. So probably 50 feet above the highest swell.
Okay.
So very low.
Yeah, but basically 50 feet above sea level. Because
Yeah.
when I say
0.
gentle rolling, I mean literally enough that with the side door open, the folks inside the Hakuge are still dry as a bone. So, can I have a piloting roll, please?
Okay. Her piloting is not modest, but it ain't shabby in any way, shape, or form. I'm rolling here on my Halloween Jack sleigh
Oh, very nice, very swish.
dice tray. It is so useful, and I imagine the neighbours appreciate it a lot more.
Dunk dunk.
Okay, well the 4 does nothing, but the 8 is pretty damn good.
The 8 is indeed pretty darn good. That's a raise. So, can I now have the notice roll? You can try and call it spot hidden then, but it's not. That's a different game entirely. Notice.
If you notice this notice, you'll notice this notice.
Oh,
is
good
not
lord.
worth noticing. That's an exploding 8. That's a waste of an exploding 8, so that's a 9.
That's still a
All
raise.
excited.
So, you notice 2 things. One, that they have on deck apparatus very similar, but slightly larger, to what's inside the Hakuge.
Uh-huh.
They have a diver down.
Right.
Secondly, that what at first looked like a windlass with a bunch of chain racked up behind it is actually a deck gun.
Hmm.
And as you fly past,
Uh-huh.
it starts tracking you.
Of course it does. That's unfriendly. We've been bimbling around this area for ages. Now they decide to try and shoot at me.
They haven't opened fire yet, they're tracking.
I'm not going to get a chance to open fire. Okay, I'm going to loop round and fly back on the other side. And I'm deeply curious to see whether they can unscrew it from the. But yeah, I want to make sure of what I've seen basically, and nail down how many people are manning said gun.
Okay, another notice roll as you. I won't ask for another fly past roll, but certainly another notice to try and catch how
I
many.
am staying very low, and I'm staying quite close to the ship. I'm going to make another flight roll just to check I don't ditch this in the string. And thank God for goodness.
Who puts guns on a trawler?
10. Danish, wasn't it? Or was it Norwegians? Cold Wars.
Sorry, what were the rolls drop?
A 10 on my piloting and the wrong die. Hang on. On my notice, apparently smoke gets in my eyes because I got a 2.
Okay, there are a number of people on deck. You couldn't catch the number, but very nice flight. And the gun does track you. Clearly, you're more focused on the gun rather than the people because it's tracking you as you fly past.
Sorry, fish.
Yeah, well, Fish. But when Midas says flying very low, he would be flying low enough to, harvest the grain with his wings.
Yeah, he'd be gathering seaweed. Just lean out.
Yes, anyone with a reason to hide the fact that their ship is a warship will put guns on their ship.
Yeah.
Does kind of give it away.
After I asked the question, I realized that a trawler would be one of the best kind of boats or ships to put heavy cannons on because of the stabilizing wings, basically, that they have. The flying wings?
It'd
I
be
think they're
weird
called
for
flying
a
wings.
trawler to have a low water line.
Yeah.
And from a distance, of course, there's huge amounts of equipment mounted to the deck anyway.
Yep. So yes, they still haven't opened fire on you, but they
No.
clearly consider you a threat because they're pointing a gun at you. Meanwhile, down at the seabed,
Scary, realistic stuff.
you've started inflating these airbags, and you're about halfway through, and you would have expected that at this point you might be starting to notice a bit of movement in the safe. But it's not shifting an inch. It's not even just sort of poking it. It doesn't seem like it's shifting
It's
at
not
all.
budging.
It's not budging. You might need more airbags.
Okay. All
Might
right.
have
I'm
to
gonna
come up in a hurry.
add. Don't say that. I'm gonna add as many as it takes to start actually shifting and lifting up a little bit.
Okay. Meanwhile, those of you on the deck, you've seen Mash on the deck on the Hakuge. You've seen Masha fly past and sort of head off over that way somewhere, and you're still cranking air into these airbags.
And make sure that we keep pumping air into Julie's helmet as well. Just
I'm getting a little
clarifying, we're
lightheaded
not
down
forgetting to give her air.
You see, I would alert them by radio, but is there any point in panicking? Because I imagine they're working as fast as they safely can.
Yes.
Hmm.
That's fair.
Probably the one that would panic the most at the moment if there was an issue would be Moody, and I won't tell Moody.
Yeah.
It's just as well that these deep sea rigs don't have radios built into them yet. Possibly a plan
Yep.
for you there, Merlin.
Yeah.
It's
Add
just
that
a lot
to
of
it.
talking through the air tube.
Yeah, Merlin.
So it's very echoey and resonant and far away.
Ooh,
Yeah.
That sounds creepy.
It
Okay.
is creepy. We sound like ghosts to each other.
Oh no. Okay.
And-
That's
It's weird
probably
'cause the ghosts
not
are
helping
there.
with the phobia.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
So how long do I have to add the airbags until it starts actually kind of lifting up a little bit?
Okay, so you've installed and put air in all of the bags. It's got a
Okay.
little bit of movement. There is not enough buoyancy in all the bags that you've got to lift the safe.
Did I fill them as much as I could?
As much as you dare, yes.
Okay.
Drut.
Hmm.
Still doing loops of the
Um,
ship. You're about a mile away from where the Hakuge is. So it's not like their diver is gonna amble across the seabed to.
No, it does, however, make me wonder what exactly their diver is up to. I'm going.
Do they actually
to-
have a diver? Did you
They've-
see a diver?
It looks like they've got something down. I am going to radio the fishing vessel, which frequency we should know. And if not, I will happily chuck Benny in to hit upon it.
Okay.
I just realized probably should sink it because even if they're not diving, if they're actively trawling and they pull across where we are,
That was part of my thought. If
yeah,
they put a net out, I really don't want them
Oh.
either sinking their ship unnecessarily or bollocking up our operation.
yeah.
Yeah, please don't let them catch me in a net. I don't see that going well.
Or just coming up like,
I think Moody gets an additional honorary title
lobster.
to Moody the Mermaid.
Oh, that's cute. I'm writing it down. She'll hate it. I love it. She hates it. But I think you should call her that anyway. Okay. Well, I would let... Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Go for it.
Okay, I would let everybody know that we don't have enough buoyancy for it to really work the way we were hoping.
Too bad we didn't have helium. Canned helium would work well.
Well, you
I don't know that it would work any differently. One.
You might have to come up and we'll call down some more supplies.
You do have access to hydrogen.
Mhm.
The eyes. I saw Drut's eyes go wide there.
We have hydrogen, you said?
It's a hydrogen airship.
Huh.
Oh, Oh yeah, we need to call down for some hydrogen. Go ahead and stay down there, Moody. Empty out the air bladders. We're gonna send hydrogen down there. Hydrogen has more buoyancy than just solid air, right? Solid air, Jesus.
I thought you were going to use hydrogen in the first place.
I'll take your word for it.
No, I'm just checking. Is hydrogen one of the lighter gases?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's on the airship.
Yes. Helium's better because it doesn't blow up.
Yeah, but helium
He's underwater.
contain
She'll
and
be
obtain.
fine.
Yeah, those hydrogen canisters aren't likely to, I don't know, crush as it gets further down there.
Oh
This is
shit.
great. I love it.
Wait, is hydrogen one of those gases that actually explodes when under pressure?
Hydrogen turns into
I know
its,
hydrogen
molecule
can't
under pressure.
explode under pressure because
Yeah,
otherwise hydrogen cells wouldn't work, would they?
and they wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't be able to put them in the hydrogen canisters for.
And also, hydrogen is what causes nuclear fusion, so it needs to be a little bit more under pressure and hot
Yeah.
for that to happen.
It's the sparking that causes pressurized hydrogen to explode. So let's keep with that.
Moody
No,
doesn't know
NASA
any
needs to
science.
know, okay?
Moody, we're not going to tell you anything. Just don't try and light up a smoke while you're down there.
Don't worry, this is
Underwater?
perfectly safe. Nothing can go wrong.
Auto ignition of hydrogen at high pressure.
Yeah, but that's ignition. It's not the pressure itself that causes
Yeah.
the...
You have to ignite it.
We're not gonna.
That's
we're not
auto
gonna
ignition.
set
That
any
means
fires
self-igniting.
So
What-
it's gonna
what
be
was that, Nate?
fine.
What was that, Nate?
Auto ignition means self-igniting.
Oh, did it? Was it auto ignition?
That's what Drut said. Auto ignition of hydrogen under pressure.
How much pressure? We'll figure out how much pressure Moody's under and see if it's safe. We're doing actually, instead of figuring this out, let's do science. I'm going to do a science roll.
Oh!
This is a role-playing game. I am
Why is
totally
the
using.
doctor doing the science?
Boom.
Hydrogen only
Okay.
explodes when combined with oxygen. Fortunately, that can't be found underwater because it isn't made entirely of hydrogen and oxygen.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm a physicist, not a chemist.
Fish
I'm
is
a
technically
doctor, not a
correct
physicist
because
or chemist.
there's-
Fortunately, we all have bennies, so we can rewrite the laws of physics if it comes
Oh
to it.
my goodness.
Which I'm doing right now. I rolled. Was that 12? Yes. it's
exactly,
13.
Chrono. There's not a lot of free oxygen in water.
Yeah.
And hey, if it does explode, all the salt and the minerals in the water mean that it'll give you a nice, funny coloured flame.
This is true.
So we can make
I
fireworks.
mean, Moody's just gonna do what you told her to do.
Yeah,
She's gonna
yeah,
let
yeah.
the air out of the things and prepare to put different air in the things.
Yep,
Like that's
yep.
as far as it goes.
We have better
There's
air.
different air. What?
This is commercial luxury air.
Like
Luxury.
free range organic
No, no, no,
air.
no.
It
We're
has
gonna-
an Apple
we're gonna-
logo on it, so it must be true.
We're going to tell a bunch of really bad jokes until the air laughs enough to lighten up.
Uh-huh.
I feel like Moody's gonna get a bit lightheaded at this, right?
Oh, geez.
So,
That'd be great.
with my science roll, the pressure at the level that Moody's at,
Yeah.
would hydrogen be safe not to auto explode?
You think so, yes.
Excellent, we're doing it.
I will trust your judgment.
Suddenly being on a plane away from here.
Oh.
Look, I will use up all of my bennies to make sure she doesn't explode.
She wouldn't explode. It's not that humans explode under pressure. Quite the opposite. They tend to just squish.
Oh,
I don't know, I've met some humans that have exploded under pressure.
Different kind of explosion, different kind of pressure.
You do explode in space, though, don't you? Because your lungs
No.
literally.
yeah.
You don't. Your lungs.
Really?
You, Without
freeze
pressure,
first.
Time.
without the pressure, you don't expand. You just things start happening inside your body. That's why your blood
The
boils.
gas,
As well as
right? Yeah.
it's the gases inside your body that expand and have problems. It's the rapid
Yeah.
expansion of the air in your blood that causes that situation.
Event Horizon actually
Same
had
thing
one
as
of
the
best-
bends, kind of, right?
It's a
Yeah,
very
Event
rapid
Horizon
onset
actually had
bends.
One of the best,
Event Horizon has it's so good.
one of the best zero pressure. Finding yourself in the unfortunate position of being in space without a suit.
Yep.
Yes.
Best examples of that.
Though you do have like
Good.
what
Pretty good
30
film.
seconds before you start suffocating and dying.
That can be extended if you empty your lungs. You have to
Hyperventilate,
your
hyperventilate
lungs,
first, and then empty your lungs.
and they
You're
get
not
that absolutely
helping
right.
her phobia right now.
Oh, hyperventilating down there is not going to help you.
I know, but you're not comparing what might happen in the water to what happens if you go out in space without a spacesuit. It's not gonna-
At the depth that you're at, your body won't crush either. You'll
It's okay.
just
We
suffocate.
have actual no scientific evidence about what space is like
That is true.
currently.
It's all theory.
Depends, what is the highest flying plane at the moment?
At the moment,
Yeah. At their moment there. Not
yeah,
the
I'm
moment
just trying to think.
today.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. High flying wasn't a huge thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's probably about. See, we're coming up for World War II, so the high-level bombers were at about 40,000 feet, I think.
As I say, it wasn't until the Cold War that like near orbital planes were developed. That was for spying.
Yeah,
Sorry,
airships don't
I'm
fly
genuinely
that
curious.
high. Airships are a lot lower than that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You know, I just realized if we do get the safe to the surface, we're going to have to figure out how to winch it up onto the airplane.
That's easy because
Strong.
we'll have loads of balloons attached to it, which are lighter than air.
That doesn't help when bringing it out of the water. It helps bring it to the surface.
No, it'll still help taking it out because it will technically still be
Just
lighter. Because it
tie
is
the
lighter
hose,
than air.
the air hose
So
around it.
we'll just have
I mean-
to
Tie the
be
air
careful not
hose
to send
around
so
it
much
and use
down
the
that it
crank.
starts flying away.
If you want a really crazy gnomish idea, we just once it's at the surface, light the bladders on fire. It'll rock it up.
No,
No.
hydrogen doesn't explode like rocket fuel. It explodes like a bomb.
Can I just remind people, one of your priorities is to preserve the Hakuge.
Like I said, gnomish idea, not doctor idea. Okay.
So-
Nobody here is like
Little bit of
particularly
knob wobble
caring about the
sneaking in
state
there.
of the plane. The person who cares about the state of the plane is currently several
Underneath
feet
the water, yeah.
Exactly! If you blow up my plane that I'm supposed to be protecting before I get up there to protect it, I will be so mad.
I'm slightly confused here. The person, singular, that cares about the state of the plane. Merlin, do you have no stake in the state of the plane at all?
Well, no, I can just make a new one.
God.
Honestly,
Also,
I have stake in the plane because I'm currently on the plane and I don't want to disappear with it.
So,
Okay, here's the thing: if the plane blows up, if you survive, you'll get a talking to from Masha.
that's a fate worse than death.
Okay, right. Absolutely no dangerous substances on the plane.
Great. Well, hydrogen is the least dangerous substance. Bring it down, guys.
Oh. Meanwhile, underwater, just.
Thought this might be short.
Just gonna put the air in the things. I don't care. I know nothing.
So,
Yeah, just don't try breathing this
what,
out.
what is the plan of attack?
Have her empty out the bags while we get some hydrogen tanks down so that we can pump hydrogen into those
Okay,
bags.
and while that's going on, Masha and the boat are going to have a radio conversation.
Ooh.
I did get the name of the vessel, didn't
You
I?
did, yes.
At the
Not
top.
the name, but you did get their frequency.
Yeah. Fishing vessel. Are you in need of assistance? I notice you have cargo overboard. I'm not secret police, that's for certain. I'm not secret police, that's for certain. I was wandering off into Germany now. It's the first time ever.
Now listen, Black Swan, or whoever the hell you are, we're not interested. You get your pirate crew away from us, or we'll blow you the hell out of the skies.
I'm sorry, hang on. This is not Black Swan. Unfortunately, I have never met Black Swan. I appreciate being called the legendary pilot. However, I will think you will find that there are no pirates on my crew. On my crew, no.
You talk like
Me?
Black Swan. We're guessing you're Black Swan. There's not too many folks around talk like that. Get the hell out of our skies, or we'll shoot you down and take you out of our skies. Get gone.
The skies do not belong to you. The skies belong to the sky. Possibly to God. Desist from your activities, or I will be forced to sink you.
We do
And
not
the tone
think
does
you
change
have the
like
power
that.
to do that.
You would be amazed what I have power to do. Thinks about what she did to that train. They had a deck gun. Cook-off is a thing. Yes, I am pulling up and around for a warning run.
As you're pulling up and around, clearly they haven't turned off the radio because you hear this shout, presumably aimed at someone else on the boat. Hey, Dave! Give that stupid thing a warning shot.
Oh,
Dave.
Right,
Dave the gunner.
Dave the gun.
Dave the Gunner. You need to die because you've got Dave the Gunner. What was the accent of the crew?
American.
It was American, okay. So it's not Gabe the Gunner then. Gabe! Sorry.
There are no knights on this ship.
I was just thinking, are all the crew there in sort of three-piece suits with hats? Like proper gangsters should be.
No, they definitely didn't have that sort of American accent.
And at no point have they claimed to be official, they've not claimed to be military, they've not claimed to be any official forces.
Correct, they have not identified themselves in any way, shape or form.
In which case they have no more right to be out here than we do.
Do they have accents related to what used to be the Confederacy?
The accent could be taken as a southern dialect. Certainly not what you would expect in, say, anywhere in the New York area. That definitely way away from that. Not a full-on stereotypical southern drawl, but getting there.
Okay.
The trouble is, we are, as I said, we're in Georgia, so we're off the coast of Georgia.
What was Georgia? Yeah.
Yeah, that bit. So if they're a local crew hired to do salvage, they would have that accent whether they were involved or not previously. In my humble.
That's
Plus,
true.
I'm not 100% sure that she could identify a Southern American accent without extreme comparisons.
I don't know. It's a pretty obvious difference between northern and southern accents.
Not to someone who's not a native English speaker, necessarily.
I guess.
You lot can't identify the difference between an Australian and a Londoner.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. The number of times I've had that conversation with people. So it's if you're not of that linguistic,
No, it's a fair point.
tradition,
It's a fair
it's hard
point.
to tell. You may think it's distinct. but we think all ours are distinct.
You think?
I can tell some of yours apart.
Yeah.
But yes, I understand.
Yeah, you get it. But yeah, anyone else, I would say yes, give it a shot. But yeah, as I said, Mash is Ukrainian, so she's already in her second language. Right. So, how likely are they to shoot me?
Well, as you're turning around to start your run, there is an explosion of flak right in front of you that you end up flying through.
Right.
Oh, nice.
There's no follow-up shot, but the gun is still tracking.
Any danger? Any damage to my plane?
No, what you flew through effectively was just the smoke and debris. No damage.
Right. Fine. That's what we're doing.
did Masha just go like, "You're fine. I'm gonna shoot you down"? Water.
Yeah, now sign your death warrant.
Well, if you ever hear me in normal speech go, right.
That's
Does that mean
roll
you're
up the
standing up and
sleeves.
leaving the room?
If you're lucky. Yeah, I thought.
He,
That's
I
business
see it more of
time.
her standing up and leaving the room after covering the walls in blood.
I had a conversation with my stepdad about this at dinner like a couple of days ago. We were laughing about how we always say right when we're like standing up to leave the conversation, and then immediately after we had this conversation, we both said right and stood up to leave the room.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay. Good point. Yeah, absolutely. I love this. We're going from the properties of explosive gas to accent variations,
Mm-hmm.
with
we
or
have-
without the impact of mass media.
We have the
You can't say our
wonders of
streams are.
wide
I'm not-
conversation and educational possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Crimson Screams.
Now rename our streams
Crimson
Education.
Screams. Jesus.
Noting that one down.
That's the Halloween event.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the
Crimson
crossover.
Crimson Skies in general has been fairly educational.
Yeah.
Only because we're having to
Totally
look
have.
stuff up because nobody knows the history properly. Okay. So, are we on initiatives?
Not as yet.
Oh, okay.
Next round initiatives.
Okay.
You were firing a warning shot, or has that gone out the window and it's a targeted shot?
They just attempted to warn me off with a explosion. I figure warnings are redundant at this stage.
Okay.
So yes, I am up, looping round, and coming at them, aiming at the deck gun.
Now, at what point are you going to open fire? Because you've got a number of different caliber of weapons, which
shoot.
do affect the range at which they're effective at.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the first airplane combat I've seen so far. Yay. Well, I mean, other than Fish's, but Fish just took them out in like 2 turns.
Maquette flying. So
Maquette,
that
yes.
the maquette is what I'm flying. Do I have the stats for the maquette, please?
Give me 1
Is that
second.
under vehicles? Yes.
Should be there. It should already be shared under vehicles, I think. If not, I can share it.
Combat. Okay, so I have got. Oh right, okay. So I've got a 60 cal cannon and 2 50 cal machine guns.
Okay. You need to be a bit closer for the 60 cal.
Yeah, it's opening with. I'd like to deter anyone who's near the deck gun from being near the deck gun. That's my priority. I want to make it an unhealthy place to be standing.
Okay. Now, does that mean that you're gonna engage at your normal engagement distance with the 50s, or are you going to go nice and close and let rip with the 60s as well?
I'm going to open with the 50s because that's more likely to be useful for deck clearing.
Okay. Gunnery, please.
Okay. Yes, gunnery had to get dropped to Crimson Skies. So it's only gone down to a D10. Just slightly more. It was a D12 on the original version. Okay. That's 4 into 6, but the 6 is exploding. $17.
Okay, would you
Like
get
that.
to roll the 2d10 damage, please?
I am spending. How many bennies can I spend?
You can, if for rerolls, you can keep spending bennies
Yeah.
until you decide you want to stop, or you
2d10
roll a.
damage. Okay, and I roll first, and then I decide afterwards. Yep. Okay. So 2d10.
Actually, do that. Can you spend bennies on damage? That's a very good question.
You can. I'm just looking at the thing Fish put in.
Oh, cool.
Reroll damage. You may spend a Benny to reroll damage, including any additional dice you may have gained from raises. So,
Which-
is it still just the 2 dice
No,
in rolling?
it's so it was 10, was it? 17.
17, I thought.
It's 3 raises.
Mine 5d10.
Mm.
Okay, get back to you in a minute.
It hits, and I need more dice.
It hits and I need more dice, indeedy. Indeedy poos. I forgot that you got extra damage from raises. Right. Fortunately, I'm not short of dice. Right. It's absolute numbers, isn't it?
Yes.
And if I re-roll, I have to re-roll the whole lot.
Yes.
Okay. 16, 27, 31 points of damage. That's not a bad roll. 31 points of damage.
Don't forget, if you do use a Benny to re-roll, you
Uh-huh.
can still choose the earlier roll. You're not
can I?
forced into. Yeah.
Oh, in that case. I've got loads. I may as well. So, 31 was my first total.
And for those in chat wondering what it is that Drut is flying that's doing this crazy amount of damage, that you can see that directly below the picture of me.
Yeah, the 31's better.
31's better.
I've got
Okay,
28.
so now this is just the 2 guns at the bottom of the aircraft. You can see they're firing away. That big bad boy right in the nose, that's yet to fire.
Yeah, that'll be what I actually want to use eventually. This is like using chain shot. In old ship-to-ship combat, you want to take out the rig, you can clear the deck, and then you blow the crap out of it.
So
It's to warn everyone away, being like, hey, you don't want to be standing here when I actually shoot you.
Yeah, exactly. I want them diving for cover away from the gun I'm about to blow up.
and you picked the roll that had the highest amount of damage of
Yep.
the 2. So
That- What that means is there will be a lot of rounds hitting in that area.
there is a paired line of mini explosions of bits of deck start flying up along the line of this trawler. There's sparks and a couple of small explosions as this line of fire hits the deck gun. And crewmen jumping overboard, pretty much all the way down the line of the deck, including the 2 guys manning the gun.
Nah. Huh? I don't think I've killed anybody. I think I have just scared them off. Was that including the guys manning the gun?
Including the guys manning the gun, yes.
Okay.
The radio sparks to life again. You crazy Russian bitch, what the hell are you doing? We fired a warning shot. Get the hell away.
Send and fucking descend. I fired a warning shot back. I fired several. And I'm Ukrainian. Stand down and stop threatening people you do not know. I am gaining some altitude.
Okay.
This may require a piloting check, since I'm going to do it standing on my tail.
We'll go on then.
Woo!
Going for the dramatic look.
Until the plane stalls and then...
Well, the thing is, she's drafting in her circus training now, so she's doing it. She's doing the showboating.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're still afloat. You're not there. That's a 7. That should cut it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Throttle forward, back on the stick, and going near enough vertical. For at least long enough to make an impression. While the trawler crew try and pick up the folks that jump overboard.
Now, I'm going to send a message to the Hakage and to the Bad Debt. There is a fake trawler in the vicinity of the Hakage. They attempted to open fire on me. I reciprocated. Do not believe they have many casualties. Expedite your activities, Hakage.
Working on it. We had a small snag with the original intention. We had to get a lighter gas, getting lowered down from the airship now.
I do not need details at this point. It will only scare me. Get this done safely and
Working
fast.
on it. Just keep them off of us if they are bad guys.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I have no idea whether they are good or evil.
Calling them bad guys because if they come at us, they're obviously the bad guys. It wasn't a matter of philosophy.
Excellent. Proceed with the life. So, yes, presumably back to them.
Yes.
Because I'm just going to keep an eye on the ship now. I think they're busy at the moment.
They are indeed a little busy, yes. Patching up some bits and pieces on their deck. And is there anything else that you're doing other than keeping an eye on them?
Well, I've alerted everybody. I am... Pardon me. I will have a look at the rest of... I'm basically going to be scanning the horizon to see if they're on their own.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'm just watching them. I'm hoping that I've warned them off quite thoroughly. And that I've delayed them enough that the Hakage can get its stuff done before
Cool.
they get there.
Okay.
Have you considered prying the safe open, by the way? I'm just asking. You know?
I did. I did last time, and they told me not to because the stuff inside can't get wet.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if once you've got it up, instead of having to get the entire safe onto the Hakage, it might be worth trying to.
That's a good point.
Trying to open it above water, and then you can just take out the contents.
Might be difficult to get enough leverage.
Leverage would
to
be an
open it.
issue, but it's maybe.
Yeah.
Because you've got to
we'll
get
think
it
about
to the
when we get
surface
there.
first.
Yeah, but yes, one thing at a time.
So, after some time messing with emptying the airbags, getting canisters of a lifting gas down to the seabed,
Yep.
and then reinflating them, the safe starts to move slowly.
Yay!
Slowly.
That's all we need. Slow is fine. Actually, slow is better because then I can guide it through the hole more easily.
Oh,
Bless
sorry.
you.
I now have a mental image of fish doing cheerleading.
What?
Oh.
Random side point there, Fish. Jira is a bug tracking and also now service desk software
Well, there's an
named
image.
for the creature in question, or named after.
Yeah.
The developers apparently were Godzilla fans, and they called the software Jira after Gojira.
Excellent.
Sorry, it's not a software that I used to work on at all. Much.
Is it safe? Is the safe safe?
Is the safe
As it
safe?
looks.
That is an interesting question.
Is the safe safe?
I
Is
mean,
the safe secret?
it's got a bunch of lifting bags attached to it. You are very carefully manoeuvring it through the holes to get it up through. Because of course it's jagged wood that you're trying to get past, and the last thing you need is one of these bags to
Yeah.
rupture and the whole thing to go back down to the bottom again. Once you're
Exactly.
clear of the ship, it'll be plain sailing or plain lifting.
Okay.
But, and I say but, there's... Can I have science rolls from anyone involved in the lifting operation, please?
Sure thing.
Oh no.
That includes you, Robinson.
Science.
Yeah, what's that? Science? From the mad inventor?
I'm gonna do
I
a
don't
betting
think it's
see
worth
if I can get a better roll.
I know I have to ask this because it's on my thing. What is going to be the difference between science and weird science?
So, science is anything that exists in that timeline. Weird
Okay.
science
Stuff that's
is
real.
stuff that you want to invent that is not real or is ahead of its time.
Okay.
I rolled a 13.
Oof.
Okay, chips are a thing, Robinson. You can.
Are you allowed to do that on a natural one?
It
No.
wasn't a double natural one. It
Oh.
wasn't a critical failure. So yes,
Okay, so I can use the chip again,
you can.
or for the first time.
Yep, one die came up a 2, one die came up a 1.
Okay.
So if they're both ones, then that's it. You just had a brain
Yeah.
fart.
Science again. Oh, apparently today is not my day.
Clearly not.
That's okay.
You can continue using chips until you get a result. I mean, that is a success. You can continue using chips if you want a bigger, better success. It's entirely up to you. The only time you can stop using, you have to stop using chips, is if you roll a double 1.
Okay, in that case, I'm gonna keep doing it until I get a nice number because I need to look good at the one thing I'm good at.
Oh, so you're competing with the doctor now.
To be
There we
fair,
go.
that is entirely
go.
within the character of Merlin. Okay. I'm gonna scroll up and double check.
I rolled 2 points smarter than you. Shut up, doctor.
But that too.
Actually,
So, where did Doctor's roll go? There it is. Oh, down chain. Okay, so you both make it with 2 raises. And the pair of you almost have the same idea at the same time and look at each other and go, that safe's not empty. You've put down enough lifting gas to lift roughly a ton. Now, unless that safe is massive, the safe's probably only going to weigh half that at best.
It's going to be Confederate gold.
we got the treasure.
I don't suppose trying to find a crack in the safe and pumping air into it would push the water out that might be helping weigh it down, but if there was water in it, that should make it more neutrally buoyant.
If there's water in it, then we don't have to worry about bringing it up.
Yeah,
Because we can, if there's already water inside, anything
We can just
paper
open
and
it
stuff
up.
that we
But we
care
don't
about is
know.
going to be disintegrated anyway, and we can just open it.
but we can't really tell if it's sealed or not. And
When
like I said, if
When
it
I
was
checked, when I checked it, it was rusted, but it didn't have. From what I remember, it didn't have any cracks or like it
That's
hadn't
correct.
been
right.
breached.
Well, even though we've got it moving now, we're still probably going to have to help haul it up.
Yeah.
We don't have a spare winch, do we?
Nope.
Can we get a spare winch? Because obviously we're going to have spare parts of winches on the bad depth, the
Yeah.
main winches, aren't we?
I mean,
We probably want.
you've got there is a small winch used normally for lifting cargo up from the runway apron and sliding it into the Hakuga.
That should be enough to get it at least to the surface of the water, but I don't know about getting it onto the actual. I mean, I don't know if the plane's going to take off, honestly.
That is potentially an issue. However,
Yeah.
as you said, the bad debt does have cranes and winches.
Right. They can. You know what? We'll just have to have them put a winch down once it gets to the surface and attach it more appropriately and have them pull it up. Are you able to move it to the hole for us to start bringing it up?
Yeah. I'm taking it slow and careful, just positioning it so that it floats right up through the
Now,
segments.
this is important. Like I said, make sure that you don't light a flame down there, okay?
I mean, if I had anything that could light a fire, that might be a problem, but I don't. So we're good. Everything is safe. Safe is safe.
Now, of course, one problem that you might have, Looper, is that whilst at the moment you're manoeuvring it through the wreckage, once you're in the clear water, it's going to want to carry on rising, but you've got to stop several times on the way up.
Is my weight enough to kind of hold it in place for a little bit, or is the buoyancy, like, it just would make it too difficult for me to hold on to it?
It would be awkward, and it might still pull you up faster than you want to, because you need to stop and wait at for a few minutes 3 times on your way up.
Does she though? Does she want to do that?
You've been down there for a long time. You need to take time this time. It's been a bit getting the equipment back and forth. You absolutely need to take the time. And I won't bring you up.
Remember
you
who you're
start-
talking to, though.
I mean, it doesn't really matter how long she, because all that's going to happen at worst is the safe is going to float away.
Yeah.
But it's still going to float to the surface as it's going away. So wherever it goes away to, we can
Yeah.
sort of go and fix it.
Is this a thing that I can spend bennies on? Because I'm not sure if it's even been thought of yet. Can I spend bennies to inform the idea that the hose that was used for, well, the hose has been disconnected. That the
This is
safe,
what I was saying before. Tie it to the hose.
yeah, but the hose when you came down probably got twisted around.
That's
Your
true.
own.
But if I'm visualizing it correctly, the hoses are coming down like here, and then there's only like what 10 feet of space over to where I'm coming back out. So I could go over and just grab the hose that's now not attached to me and tie it on the thing, right?
You can, yes.
I'm gonna do it. I'm
Okay.
gonna do it 9 times. Do I
Okay.
need to make something for that?
Yeah, another unskilled roll to successfully tie.
Oh.
If you're going to do a thing,
All right.
that'll do it, absolutely.
She's doing a good job today. I'm proud of her.
Yeah. Yeah. Moody, the diving expert,
Yeah, apparently.
well on the way to ranking up those dive
The
skills.
multi-class next session.
Multi-class 2. Badass competent diver.
The mermaid.
Moody Mermaid. I can see the fan art now.
Might have to happen.
I mean, if Val was here, there probably already would be fan art.
I know.
Do you reckon you could make mechanical diving equipment that is just like a mermaid fin?
You could.
You could.
Merlin could.
Is this-
Get
is
more
The
this-
world's first Navy SEAL, exactly.
You can get
Is this-
monoplane suits.
Is this salvage operation going to be a regular thing for this group? Because then we're going to probably need to design a submersible airplane.
Yeah, no, I would just make the bad jet submersible.
Yes.
Just make the entire thing submersible.
I mean, this world already has submersible aircraft carriers, so
It's basically, right, all I need to do is add a series of pipes around the airbags that can fill with water, because that'll, you know, add
Increase
downward
ballast.
force.
Yep.
And then you can pump it all out when you need to go back up and refill the airbags, and it will just go straight
but
back up
you're
into the air.
also going to need to rebuild the actual frame to maintain the pressure inside from the pressure outside. You don't want it to be crushed underwater.
You'll empty the bags first. You'll put
No,
the
I'm not talking
airbags
about-
back into canisters, so they won't pop.
The ship isn't built for being submerged.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Can you get the safe up first?
Well, now that now that there's an air hose tied to the safe, it's not going to drift away, which means that Moody can ascend safely, while the safe makes its own gradual ascent.
Got tactical up in here.
Absolutely.
All right. It is weird saying.
And
All right.
yes,
I know
Caleb
you're
You're all
Jackson,
responsible.
the sort of thing that
the
they're
thing.
discussing now is the sort of thing that answers Robinson's question earlier. So what exactly is weird science? That is it. You want to make a submersible airplane? Weird science. You want to make a submersible airship? God's help you, weird science.
Yes!
I'll name it Project Nautilus.
Nice. I'm writing that down.
Are you changing? Are we all going to have to change our code names to N names instead of M names?
No.
Well, if you do
And-
decide
and
to if you do decide to work on submersible aircraft, I at least can have movie reference material for ideas. Because Sky Captain had exactly that.
I was thinking that.
Yes. Sky Captain created by someone who was clearly a Captain Scarlet fan. Good film.
Merlin.
Sorry, chat is killing me
Merlin.
today.
Nithra Nidus Nadana and Nudie.
The
Nudie,
other ones
what?
don't sound too weird, but Merlin is
I'm sorry,
You're weirding out of a Nerlin, but nudie you're
Yeah.
fine with.
what? I mean, nudie is just. I can imagine that in MMOs and stuff. I can see that being used.
I'm gonna do it.
I am not going to have wanton nudity in this. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, it's on the same page as me.
now the thing is, well, yeah, send nudes. Moody goes in and kicks ass. It's a code name for wreck them.
Perfect.
What are we gonna do? Send nudes.
The Crimson Dead Skies. Yes. Right, safe up.
So yes,
Or
now
I have
it's-
to do a one-woman storming of this ship. I haven't quite figured out how yet.
Well, the trawler is still trying to recover its personnel. One of the
If they-
wondrous things about Savage Lands and the way we were running this previously, under the Deadlands rule set, was that if they didn't die on screen, they didn't die. So you didn't actively kill any of the crew.
Nope.
They did jump
Yep.
overboard, hit the deck. They were unharmed by your gunfire.
18 rules are applying.
Yeah, basically. it's all very, very pulp is the action that we're looking for.
Yeah. Fully automatic fire, cars exploding everywhere, no one's dead.
Exactly, yes.
I mean, our salvage operation is very pulpy.
Yes. Right, so from observing, they're still recovering their crew. It looks like you've put their gun out of action.
Good.
Because whilst they're still keeping eyes on you and shaking rifles and pistols at you, they're not actively shooting at you, and no one's returned to the deck gun.
Okay. I am going to basically start a figure eight pattern to take into account both the Hakuge and the ship.
Yep. But don't forget the Hakuge is about a mile away from this ship.
Oh, it is, yeah. I mean, let's face it. My turning distance is about a mile. Turning circle at high speed in a plane is quite big. So if it looks like the crew of the fishing vessel are getting spicy and heading towards the deck gun again, I will let loose another blast of deterrent.
Okay. Can I have another notice roll, please?
Yep. Four.
Not sufficient this time.
Okay.
Okay. So nothing to see here. Move along. Carry on with your figure eight. So the plan was to move the bad debt directly above the Hakuge and winch it out of the water using the cranes from the bad debt. Was that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So
So
just have them take it all the way up into cargo on the bad debt.
Mm-hmm.
Because
okay.
there's no way we're going to be flying the Hakuge off of the water with that heavy piece of shit.
So that's a fairly straightforward operation. Nothing to worry about there. So you hook the safe securely onto
Probably using like a web.
a wire mesh cargo net.
Yeah.
I say wire mesh like it's chicken wire. I'm talking the sort of wire
Cable.
that's used for thank you, that's the word. For lifting very, very heavy things. And eventually Moody then comes aboard the Hakuge.
Just gonna lay on the deck for a while. Just helmet off. Just.
And given the time that's taken, can I have another notice roll from Masha, please? Who's still doing laps just to make sure everything stays safe.
Yeah. I'm basically on Overwatch. That is a 6 on the die. Thank God for the extra D6.
Mhm.
10.
That is sufficient to notice that
Cool.
the trawler looks a little lower in the water than it did.
Yeah, those bullets probably went all the way through.
It's okay, they have pumps, probably.
Sinking slowly is not my problem.
I like the idea of a massive ship slowly sinking because there is a bullet-sized hole in the bottom.
Not
Yeah.
a bullet, there was a definite volley of bullets.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
at least 20 bullet holes all the way through.
And of course, if one of those bullets happened to hit something, squash, and make a bigger hole rather than the teeny tiny hole.
Yeah.
Look, they've got plenty of people. Some of them are in the water. I'm sure they could stick their fists in holes.
They have
Wow.
dropped the
Just everyone there with
boat
buckets now.
off the back.
However, what I am
Breaking
going to
into
do,
the musical number.
just in case they haven't noticed, I'm going to radio the fishing vessel. It has come to my attention you're listening. You appear to be taking on water. Go home.
Thank you, you crazy wench. You sunk us. We're not going to make it home.
I have not sunk you yet. If you wish, I can arrange
You can,
evacuation.
you can see the lifeboat being dropped off the back.
Yeah.
This teeny tiny little dinghy. If the weather gets any worse, they're going to be in trouble.
We can arrange evacuation. Would you be interested?
No, piss off.
Are you absolutely certain you do not wish evacuation? Perhaps your crew would like evacuation.
There's no reply, but you can see people either swimming to the boat or jumping from the trawler to the boat.
Right. At the moment, is the bad debt physically connected to the Hackergate team?
Physically connected to the hack again, no, but it is still lifting the crate. Crate
Okay.
safe.
They're safe.
The safe crate.
I will radio the bad debt. Bad debt, when you have completed recovery operation, please assist the sailors from fishing vessel, and I will give them the bearing.
Understood, ma'am. Once the cargo is secure, we will go and render assistance.
Absolutely. Also, to make sure they are not armed.
Will do. We'll have security detail on deck.
Excellent.
Hey, Moody might get to punch someone.
Yeah!
They shot at me. I took this personally.
Why is that exciting?
They also insulted you, which, like, Moody's
Absolutely.
probably not that worried about, but I'm worried about it, so I'm gonna put
To be
that into
brutally
context.
honest, I'm used to ignorant Americans insulting me.
That's fair.
It's okay. We're used to you insulting us too. I think it's balanced.
So yeah, basically, having put the notification out, I am gonna head back and start circling the ship, and I am going to start noting the location of any other boats in the water
Okay.
and any people who aren't actually in a boat in the water.
Right, there's only one. I say lifeboat. It's dinghy-sized. I mean, the
Yeah.
trawlers aren't that big. I don't know how many trawlers have a life dinghy, but this one did.
Okay.
And there's a reasonable number of crew. You don't know how many crew this vessel had, but there's half a dozen guys either
Okay.
scrabbling to or already in.
Okay, so it's not that many people. Okay, that's fine. It's don't be rude, basically. Certainly don't be rude to someone with 50 cows.
Yeah,
just,
like,
just be
Into
thankful.
it.
Just be thankful
if-
Masha didn't unleash the 60.
if they'd been smart about it and were actually afraid of you monitoring them, they should have actively shot you to try and shoot you down.
Yeah.
Shooting a warning shot at an airplane that's not shooting you but circling
Yeah.
is asking for it.
That was just stupid. Hi, Val.
They gave you the opportunity to hurt them.
Yes,
Hey Val,
but I
They
don't
weren't
necessarily want
particularly
them dead
smart.
because dead people can't be questioned.
They weren't particularly smart, and well, we'll cover the rest later when you get to question them.
Yeah.
So with the cargo now attached to the bad debt, what's the my next steps for the Hakuge? Other than Moody just lying spark out in the back going, I'm knackered.
Actually, good point. In addition to what I requested of the bad debt, I will call the Hakuge crew.
We've been promoted to a crew.
No,
That
you
implies
are a
we have
crew
some
on the
kind of
Hakuge.
cohesion.
And request that they move the vessel to the proximity of the trawler because they'll be able to take anyone out of the water.
move the vessel. What?
Taxi the
Plane.
Hakuge across the surface
But
to
we
where the
need-
trawler was.
We need the safe.
The safe is in the air. We're done here. I need to take care of Moody, make sure that they're doing okay, and we brought them up properly. You need to get us off the water and head over there so that we can rescue some people.
Because if nothing else, you're the medical specialist, and therefore, if there is anyone in the water who does need
And
help,
it's probably very cold because this is Southern Atlantic. What, springtime? It was.
I'm going to assume that the plane has like a door between the cockpit and the cargo area.
should do.
Yes.
Okay, good, because I don't want anyone else looking at the radar stuff.
Fair
That's
enough.
Yeah.
So long as you can actually fly, it's. I'm gonna help people.
Okay. So in that case, I'll be locking the door as I go into the, the important bit of the plane, and moving it over. Is there? What would be the fastest way to? Would it be just taking off and landing again, or do I get to do fun jet ski stuff and
Jet ski stuff would be
hydroplane
easier.
the plane?
J-
There's a swell. You're better off taking
Yeah.
off and landing.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
there a swell?
It's only a small swell, but there is a swell. If it was
Yeah.
Mill Pond, then you could almost go wing and ground vehicle effect and just skim the surface. But that's ill-advised in the current and burgeoning weather conditions. So
Fair enough.
take off. It's only a mile away, but a takeoff, cycle, and land by them is required. Now, fortunately, Merlin, you're well versed in this aircraft.
Fortunately.
You know it almost as well as anyone else that can fly, because you were there at its inception, creation, and production. And
This is the
subsequent
only
test
reason
flights.
why I was like, Merlin needs to fly us.
So unless you want to do something flash like utilize the wing and ground effect and skim along the surface, you can take off and land without needing to roll.
Okay.
It would be quicker to get there and more direct by just pointing and literally push the throttles, wing and ground, and then drop the throttles back to settle into the sea when you get the other end. But not safer.
I'll take the safer one.
Okay.
Mostly because I value my technology more than I value the life of some random person I don't know.
Okay. So as you get over there, you can quite clearly see the vessel is now listing heavily to one side and slowly going under. You can still see the pipes from the air pump that were going over the deck are still attached to the pump and still over the deck. And everyone that you can see that in the vicinity is either in the life raft or hanging onto the gunnels of it.
Okay.
You know, it's a good thing that we've got 2 Americans and a British person in this aircraft because they seem to have a problem with Ukrainians.
Yeah. It's sad, really.
As
How
soon
is-
as we Go ahead.
How would that kind of
No,
rescue work
please.
anyway? Would it be sort of just hauling people into the cargo area?
Yeah, literally just open the side door
Yeah.
and
Okay.
haul them aboard if they want. If they, assuming they're amenable to the idea.
heck, if anything, we should have enough fuel on the Hakuge to fly them to shore and not go back to the bad debt. We
No,
can get
they're
up to
going
bed.
back to the bad debt.
They need to be questioned. I mean, they need to be ensured of safety.
A conversation needs to occur.
Hey Moody, you have your gun on you, right?
Isn't Moody still
Always.
flopped out?
No, she's. By the time you take off and then land again, we've got the suit off of her.
Okay.
Imagine she's basically
I might still be
knackered.
laying on the deck with the suit off, but I would still have my gun at that point because that's who she is.
Just
Like
wanted to double
at the
check.
very least, just like reach out to the bag where my stuff is, and, like, hold on to it. Okay, we're fine. But,
So
Um,
the life raft does get rowed its way across to where the Hakuge has taxied to a stop.
Open up the door. I heard you guys need a hand. Do you have anyone that's too cold or shivering? Because I'm a doctor.
And anyone that has been visibly in the water can be seen to be shivering. That's
Yep. Those are the ones that I want handed up first so we can get them undressed, dried off, and feed them some rum.
The minute you mention rum, any that are shivering are clambering to get in. I mean, they are absolutely drenched. They've clearly either been among those that jumped overboard during the strafing run, or missed when jumping into the life raft.
Yeah.
They are drenched. They are very, very cold, very, very sodden, very, very sullen looking. Generally not in a brilliant shape.
It's a bitch, isn't it?
Gonna basically line them up, get the most of the wet clothes off that we can, try and dry them off, get them close together for body heat, and making room for everyone to get on. So that we can...
Moody's just gonna be sitting on the other side of the room with her gun very visibly in her hand. Just kind of...
By other side of the room, you mean sitting against the cockpit door?
Probably.
Because that would look so cool, just sit there like...
That's kind of how I'm imagining it. I'm imagining like the folks you've rescued pretty much being backed up down the tail end, and there's just Moody leaning against the cockpit door, gun casually on her lap.
Mm-hmm.
And Masha doesn't think we're competent.
There are a few things that she does well, and intimidation is one of them.
Masha is fully aware of your competence.
Yeah, the lack of it.
I said what I said.
Read into that as you will. So yeah, the half dozen guys crawl out of the life raft into the back. The folks that are wet and shivering, huddling close together as directed. The two dry ones still sort of sat up the back end, kind of close to their crewmates, and looking very sorry for themselves, but not wet, cold, and shivering.
I pass them around a flask of rum, one sip each.
I'm unconvinced as to the benefits of giving rum to people suffering from
It's actually bad. It's very bad because it opens up the capillaries and allows for heat to be lost faster.
Yep.
But it makes you feel warm, is the thing.
Also morale. They've been given rum.
Yes.
So, it's a two for it. I get two benefits out of it, and one downside. They're going to actually be colder, but we'll be able to get back to the airship in time to save them from actual hypothermia.
Fair
Maybe.
enough.
I'm the doctor here. I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So as you've got them all, you're just about to close the door, and one of the rescuees
There should still be someone down there.
pipes up and says, "Can you help James?
James?
Where's James?
Our diver."
Oh.
He's still down there.
How far gone is the boat?
You can still see the starboard gunnel.
Moody, you good for another dive except without the suit?
All right.
I'm gonna strip too. We're gonna swim over there together. We're gonna try and find the hose that's got him down there, and we're going to try and haul him up.
Okay.
It's probably gonna take both of us trying to stay at the surface while one is pulling up. And
Okay.
once we get enough cable through, I'm gonna cut the tube and keep pulling him up because otherwise the tube is gonna pull us down.
All right. You're in charge here. I'll follow your
Does
lead.
that sound like a reasonable plan to anyone who's not playing the game?
Over to you, chat.
I'm going to cut the tube. All the water floods in down into his sink.
That's the thing. I don't want to do that.
Um,
Can you think of any better way of trying to save him without killing ourselves? Because getting all of our diving shit set back up is going to take time, and he's going to die in the meantime. Because whatever was pumping him air is now underwater.
Is it? Do we know that?
and no
Yeah,
one
you
is
know that.
pumping it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So
No
this is
one's-
the fastest
He may
response
not
we can
be-
do.
He may be dead already.
This is the fastest response
So-
we can do.
he's
So
got.
if I dive down and just see what his status is,
If you can swim that
First.
far without light,
Can we not use the winch that we have on the plane to just sort of pull him up by? Because obviously their ship's sinking, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's pretty much
Got
sunk at this
Find
point.
where he's attached to their winch to attach to our one,
Hmm.
because he's not going to be attached at the
The
bottom
problem-
of the ship.
the
is
problem
he?
with that is we're already going to be too close to the ship going down, and the ship going down is going to pull us down if we're right on
Yeah.
top of it or even on the ship. So we want to cut the tube, get farther away, and pull them up.
Can I make a suggestion for someone
Yes,
who's
please.
actually there and Mash is not really in a position to see the details because no one's talking to her? You have the bad debt. It has a winch. You can use their winch if they are above the sinking vessel to connect to the diver and just hoik him up like a helicopter.
I was
Yeah,
kind
by the
of
time we
suggesting
come over there-
similar, but I was thinking more of like lowering someone down from the airship to get to their winch.
But I mean, you're there in person, so it's probably faster if they drop a hook from the bad debt, and one of you guys goes down and connects it to the guy you need to evacuate, and literally they can just winch him straight up
Yeah, that's
That sounds like a good plan.
instead of having to faff around trying to get him on board the Hakuge.
good.
Let's get him straight up onto the ship, onto the airship.
Well, then we'll call up to.
Blowing reality chips. Like I'm going to drop 2 reality altering bennies because that was advice I really shouldn't have been able to give them,
That's fair.
but that's a reasonable thing to do.
That's fair.
We'll call up to the airship and have them go over the right area and have them set down the winch. We will have Dr. Buttercup will go with Moody to make sure that everything gets tied properly and separated from the hose so they can winch them up.
Okay, so you're both going in the water.
And leaving me alone with a bunch of strangers. On
I
a
don't
plane
think that's.
is
I
absolutely not-
actually see
I
that
can go
would.
by myself.
If yeah,
Can you?
if it's between saving some rando who's drowning and protecting the ship that she's supposed to be protecting, and
Yeah.
not leaving it undefended, then she
Yeah.
can stay on the ship.
That's a good
That's
point.
true. So she wouldn't be a viable one to leave. But yeah, in terms of swimming, my bigger is
If she was the only one who was going, that would be a different story. But not
you're the only
leaving
one that knows how to
anybody-
fight. I can't fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leaving
Also,
this ship full of people that like we have no idea the last. I mean, I assume we know that they were shooting at Masha, right?
she did tell me.
She
So,
did say that she
yeah.
was shot at.
Also, we've pushed Moody's phobia.
A lot.
That's
Back
true.
in
Yeah.
again. That's likely to be harder.
Not to mention, in terms of that phobia, deep water, when you're at the surface of deep water, way worse than when you're underneath.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yes, it makes more sense to put Mithras in.
Yeah, I'll stay and keep a gun trained on these people that we fished out of the water because I don't want to leave a potential like takeover happening with Merlin being the only one to defend against it.
Yeah, we really don't want to lose Merlin. We really don't want to lose the plane.
So, Mithra, you jump in, swim across to where their hoses are. The Zeppelin's already manoeuvred overhead, dropping a second cable down, which you can hook on.
Yep, doing so. And I'm probably going to ride up with him to see if I can get anything out of him. Maybe have to open up the helmet to get oxygen in there because I don't know how long he's been down there without the pump being operated.
So,
In terms of attaching the cable, how easy would it be for me to disconnect the hose once they start winching me up? Because I don't want us to I don't want the boat to drag the bad dead into the water either.
The easiest thing to do is to cut the hose.
Yeah. Okay.
Because otherwise you're looking to go onto a sinking ship to find where it's connected and disconnect it from there.
Yep.
Which, if it goes under while you're on board, you could get sucked down with it.
Yep. So yeah, I'm gonna, after I get him attached and they start pulling us up, I'm gonna cut the hose.
Okay, now you've got, at this point, no way of knowing how deep he is.
Nope.
So you're pulling him straight up.
Yep. Pulling him straight up, keeping the hose above the water, so that at least there's some airflow. And actually, you know what? Yeah, there's not much I can do with that. I would have wrapped the hose that is cut around the cable.
Yep.
Where it's hooked on so that it doesn't fall in the water. And then I'm going to wait in the water until he's brought up farther.
Okay. So they're now winching up the hose. How fast are they going to winch? Because no one said winch slowly or stop at any point.
And are they close enough to see me make any hand signals or anything like that?
There is a winch operator looking down at you, yes.
Okay.
They don't have the air sea rescue skills available to them to have a codified set of commands for rescuing someone out of the water. It's not something
Right.
they're used to. No, they're airship crew. This is completely alien to them.
I was thinking just basic hand signals of like stop if needed to be stopped or keep going.
Yeah,
'Cause I can only
that
use
much they
one
can
hand.
cope with. That much they can cope with. But it looks like whoever's operating the winch isn't the one that's looking over the side, because he keeps turning his head back whenever you make a hand signal.
Right, sure.
Oh, wonderful.
So there is a second or two delay from the making of the hand signal to something happening.
Of course there is.
But after an uncomfortable amount of time, you can see some feet below you, maybe 20 feet, difficult to see and judge, the flailing arms and legs of someone getting
good.
closer to the surface.
Oh man, he's gonna be in pain.
More trying to pay for being alive.
I wish there was some place on the bad debt that we had already thought to set up as a pressure chamber.
Why would we have a pressure chamber on an airship?
Because apparently we're running dive salvage operations now.
This is your first dive and salvage operation, and you weren't expecting to be running your own crew on it.
Yep.
What with the diver that was hired for you having been shot down?
Yep. And his group. Because there was like 3,
Yep.
2. Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, he comes to the surface, and he's still flailing like crazy.
I I put my hands on either side of his helmet and just calm down. And I'm hoping he can see read my lips, because I know it's hard to hear through glass. Just calm down, Martians. Calm down. You're safe. Do I have to roll something for trying to calm him?
No, he seems to be fairly switched on, and locked eyes with you pretty much the minute his head broke surface.
Aww.
So I just read chat there. He looks unwell. He looks incredibly pained.
Does his diving helmet, the diving bell helmets that we're using, do they have the seals in which you can unscrew and open
Yeah,
up?
it's like you unscrew a couple of lugs and the front panel flips open.
Yeah,
like
so
a
I
porthole.
do that quickly and pull it open.
Okay, now you can hear clearly the screams of pain.
I'm not there.
We will get you as comfortable as possible soon. You would have suffocated down there. We had to bring you up fast. Your ship was sinking. Try to breathe. We'll work you through this pain. The diving suit would be too heavy for me to get over to the ship, so I need them to keep bringing us up.
Yep.
And I'm gonna grab onto him. I'm here with you. We're gonna get you help. We'll be okay. And just keep talking to him as calm as possible the entire way that we get winched up to the bad debt.
Right, can you make me a strength check, please? So, strength die plus your wildcard die.
We now
Strength
becoming-
being my best one. I'm going to Benny that because I don't want to fall off. Or chip that.
And this was how the lifeguard got founded.
5 work?
5 works. To be honest, the 4 would have worked. I just wasn't going to tell you, considering you jumped straight in with the Benny that. Well, okay, maybe we'll get a better roll. That's sufficient. So you're there hanging on for grim death to both James, the diver, and the line itself as they winch you up.
Mhm.
For those on the sorry, not the bad debt, on the Hakuge, you can see Mithra being winched up with their diver, who's still sort of arms and legs flailing, but seems to be safe. However, due to the cargo operations, it's going to be probably 20 minutes before any aircraft can be recovered, because it's going in through the same hole in the bottom of the airship. And you've got, currently hanging off the bottom of the bed deck, you've got a big wire net with a safe in it, and another cable with 2 people dangling off of it.
The winching crew is really getting their exercising today.
Oh.
When it comes to being winched, every time that we rotate or swing around to face the Hakuge, I give a thumbs up.
Cute.
Now,
That's for the benefit of the crew that just lost their ship.
Oh, that's nice.
Right.
if required, both aircraft do have enough fuel to make it back to the airstrip.
That's a plus.
Do they have enough fuel to last 20 minutes in the air waiting?
The Hakuge does, but then the Hakuge could sit on the sea for 20
Yeah.
minutes.
But if the
However-
seas get too much rougher, the Hakuge is not going to be able to take off.
Having been doing figure eights and effectively a combat air patrol, the
Yeah.
Marquette does not have 20 minutes of air.
Can
fuel.
I do a knowledge navigation to guesstimate how much distance I've got left on my full tank?
Roughly about enough to get to the airstrip.
Okay, in that case, I will radio jointly the Bad Debt and the Hakuge and inform them that I'm headed back to refuel. And to keep all of the people from the trawler under guard.
Understood, man. I do that all the time as well, Moliere. I'm forever hitting the up arrow to try and edit the last thing I typed because I know I made a spelling mistake.
Oh my gosh, I do
Twitch
that
doesn't let me
too.
do that.
Dear. I know exactly what you mean there. That reminds me, I need to watch Space Star Cops.
So, what are you doing in the Hakuge? Are you going to wait on the water, or are you going to get airborne and wait? Because you've got 20 minutes of fuel if you want to fly around for 20 minutes.
If I was there as the doctor, I would advise getting airborne because the engines would create heat to warm up the people on there.
The engines are out in the wings. They wouldn't necessarily create that much heat.
That's true. They're too far out.
Counterproductive getting them to wing walk in order to warm up with the engine.
Do you know what else is warm though? Exhausts.
Wow.
I haven't given you one this game.
Ah, there it is. There it is. Hold on.
That's the full
we
soul
go.
leaving the body.
Way quicker than me with the face palms.
I love how excited you got for being almost to the number.
Oh my word. Okay, yeah.
I like having things to celebrate.
It's okay because Because when we do get to the number, someone will react to it, and then we'll facepalm to it and immediately get off the number.
Yeah, basically.
Yes, that will be a thing. That
That'll
will
be
happen.
beautiful.
So-
Robinson, did you have to say get off? Just saying.
I'm not going to facepalm to that. I'm not going to facepalm to it. So Mithra, you are winched aboard the Bad Debt with James the diver. Immediately you're aboard. There's a crew from a couple of orderlies from medical ready to escort you and he to the medical bay to
Yep.
start treatment for the bends. Not that you
Yep.
can do much because you don't have a pressure chamber.
No, but we can try and ease his pain with painkillers and just keep with him while he's going through. It's going to be like hours to days if he survives.
Depends how long he was. Yeah, it all depends on how long he was down there.
Yeah, really does.
If he's
So I'm actually gonna go with them to the med bay and help get the diving gear off because I've had practice getting diving gear off at this point, and help them get him set up and ready.
If we loaded him onto the hacker gate, could we get him somewhere that has a pressure chamber?
I was just wondering, and this is something a weird scientist might think of. Could you repurpose any of the hydrogen storage bladders as a chamber? As a pressure
Technically.
chamber?
I mean,
Technically
I
could.
did vaguely consider that, but are we going to have anything that we could use to pressurize?
What, like massive pumps?
Massive pumps
Are
pumping
those
in.
Pumps? Yeah, but those pumps are going to be for. I don't know how pumps work, to be honest. So
Pumps will
I-
pump whatever you put them in. So
So the problem with the pumps is with an airship like this, I'm not sure that the pumps themselves would be strong enough to pressurize it because after a certain pressure, the style of pump dictates how much more pressure they can put into it. So when it's just airflow pumps, they're actually fairly fragile unless they're specially built for putting pressure into a pressurized container.
this is why I was thinking it would be a weird science check.
That's true. It would be a weird science check because you can just make that happen with weird science, can't you?
To reinforce things.
Yep, with a weird science check. I mean, aircraft themselves are pressurized to a certain degree. Not every aircraft in Crimson Skies is pressurized, but some of the more advanced ones are. Not the Hakuge, because that's made of fiberglass. Again, weird science. Fiberglass in the 1930s. Not as weird as you might think, but used as an aircraft hull, yes, weird science. But there are various bits and pieces around that you could feasibly use weird science to pull together to make a coffin-sized pressure tank if you had the time to do so. And indeed
Coffin-sized specifically is what you said.
An iron
I like
lung.
that.
This would be an iron lung.
This would,
basically
yeah.
yes.
And obviously Knight has seen Castrovalva. So
Would he be able to complete it in time before this guy died or recovered, though, is the thing.
That would be a matter for the dice.
Yep.
As
I
would its
like this
efficacy.
idea. If Robin's up for doing it, because that's a really good idea.
So
Especially,
I'm jury-rigging a bunch of parts from an airship to make the exact opposite of what an airship does.
yes.
Basically, yes.
I mean, sure, why not? I like a good challenge. I can even get it done by the time, that you need it. Guaranteed.
And I'm
Excellent.
going to give Drut
Could
a
you
chip
not
for that because that was a
use-
very, very good idea.
could you not use the diving suit as basically the chamber itself? Could you pressurize
No.
the diving suit?
What the most of the suit is made of is, I think it's either highly oiled leather or some other waterproofed material, but
Yeah.
it's cloth.
Okay. No, that's fair enough.
So it's
Tired.
gas permeable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That was just a sudden thought, but yes, probably best off with a fuel container or something. Get to it. Weird science.
He'll get
Yes.
high while he's in there.
Moody would be
do we
over here
have
like,
a
walk
specific?
it off.
So am I just doing a general roll? Or do we have a specific?
Not yet. We're
plan
not
we're
because
going
we're
for
not
here?
there. But because you're still on the Hackagay, still on the seabed at the moment.
Yeah.
Not the not the seabed.
No.
No, not the seabed.
Yeah, I'm at the seabed. Okay, cool. So it's the
Still-
possible plane complete. What's next?
Hell yeah! This is canon.
It's still on the sea, but presumably then taxiing to get airborne, so that you can do such things. So let's switch to Masha, who's approaching the airstrip.
To be honest, unless there's something dramatic, all Masha can do is go back, land, and update Midas.
Okay.
Because at the moment that's it until we get the crew back and we can have a chat with them.
In order to save time on construction, would it be possible to have the request for the equipment radioed in and then get me a list of what's on board that I can work with?
Yep.
So that
Yep.
I can start putting together potential methods before I even take off.
It's a crew-based scavenger hunt.
Basically, yeah, absolutely, you can do that. And you can send. I mean, don't forget, it's not just you and a handful of others. You've got a crew of maybe
Yeah.
20, 30 people up there. So there is a bunch of people that can be commissioned to go and get a bunch of stuff from all over the place with the aim of saving this guy's life.
Yep.
Yell if you need me to roll for the crew on the grounds that Masha's not there anymore.
Okay, doke. Well, let's have a D6 notice roll on behalf of the crew generally to find everything that
Okay.
that Merlin's listing for them.
It's funny you say that, Crow, because in X4, the tutorial character refers you as assistant.
That is a 4.
Okay, then that is success. So all the bits that you requested, Robinson, will be either ready for you when you arrive or being gathered to your laboratory to be used when you arrive.
Time saving.
No, you call it your lab. It's your bedroom.
It's the bedroom, but one of the walls has been cut off, so it opens directly onto the engine.
Yep.
Have y'all seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Because now I'm just imagining Merlin as the main character in that movie.
I haven't yet.
It's really cute. Oh, you should. It's so good. Like
I'll-
every line is a punchline.
I'll add
I
it to
love
the
so
list.
much.
So it sounds like a film I need to watch with possibly with the grandkids.
Mm. Yeah.
Yes, I'd recommend that.
Sorry.
That's okay. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So with everything being clear from the hangar bays, they're ready to have the Hackagay dock. And again, with you being so well versed in flying the Hackagay, you don't need to roll to drop it on the hook unless you particularly want to do something flash. I'll take that as a no. Given that
Robinson,
Robbins
you're
is flying.
flying,
You're
aren't
flying.
I'm flying the plane, yeah.
Yeah. Are you doing anything flash to maybe get a slightly faster docking, or are you just going to keep it safe and steady?
Oh, no. I'm not that type of person. Buy the books.
By the books. Okay. So a nice
Who
safe
possessed Merlin?
docking on the. No, to be fair, this is flying. This is not his usual terrain. Once he gets into
Good
the
point.
science lab, all bets are off.
Yeah.
Well, no, okay, see, I wrote the books on engineering.
Please note, he's going to be welding on board a hydrogen-powered vessel, and Masha has needed to refuel about 100 miles that way.
Also,
What's
there's. I believe someone did mention possibly using an empty fuel tank as part
Yep.
of this. It's going to be welded.
I kind of like the mental image.
I'd like
of
to
how
point
shoving
out-
someone
I've
inside
seen
the
what
crap
happens if you
duster.
try and weld an oil drum that you haven't properly
Oh.
ventilated.
I'd like to point out that it was Drut that suggested the empty fuel tank.
Mhm. Please note, my character isn't there.
Wow, this crew really suggested some really nice ideas, didn't they? Thank you, nameless crew member A.
Mhm.
The gantry, once the Hackagay is in its hangar part, and you open the door, the gantry is lined with armed personnel ready to escort the 6 trawlermen to a holding area.
what this actually is of course one of the crewmen read the Cask of Amontillado at some point, and just likes the idea of walling somebody up in a barrel.
Leading the 6 crewmen is someone that previously had been captured, taken aboard the vessel for questioning, and subsequently escaped and just waited there until you came back to them. Presumably working on the theory of set a thief to catch a thief.
Yep.
If he knows there's ways out, he's going to make sure they don't do it.
Mhm.
I now have a mental
those
image of Merlin doing like the whole Doctor Who style, open the door, vault over a fence, and just sprint down a corridor.
I could picture this very similar thing. As soon as like the thing's docked, the captives are taken away, and Merlin is like an after image.
Yep.
With
So-
a bundle of papers, obviously, of all the little drawings trailing behind it.
Yes, just casually making notes while flying this thing back to. So Merlin,
Oh, that was loud.
sorry. Merlin, would you care to make some? Let's have a weird science roll, please. Getting ensconced in your laboratory, designing and making.
It's,
A 9.
Do you wish to reuse any bennies, or are you happy with that? Chips, or are you happy with that
What
roll?
is this for the entire thing or the first part of the thing?
This is for the designing the thing. Is it possible? Well, no, you know it's possible. It's guaranteed to be possible. You've got a success, but how well it's going to, how effective it's going to be. Don't forget, if you use a chip and the roll's not as good, you can still take the better roll.
Well, I have plenty of chips, so I want to make the best design I can make.
Okay.
I'm sure he can handle a couple more minutes while I draw out another plan.
Just double check my maths on this.
Oof, that was terrible.
You can keep going if you want.
Yeah.
Good go. I have so many chips lined up, so it's just something to finally use them on.
Mm.
I'm doing terribly
Oh
here.
dear.
The dice say no.
The dice are not happy with
Apparently
you
you're
tonight.
right. I'm just destined to not be able to make. This is just not my field of expertise. What is all this medical
Well, I mean,
jargon?
you've got a solid success because
Yeah.
you've got a success with a raise, so it is okay, but maybe you can do better.
Great. Now you're taunting me.
Yes, yes, I am. I'm
I like
I'm
that the
aware of.
GM is taunting you, and that's really just your conscience taunting you.
I know what's on
Like,
his
you've
character
got-
sheet.
An overconfident person who's determined to make. Oh my god! Right, that fight. I'm at war with the dice.
There you go.
That's better.
There we go.
That's better. It's in double digits now.
It's in double
How
digits.
many,
We got
how
an
many
explosion.
bennies was that? 6?
Quite a
Seven.
few.
Just go with 7.
5.
Gadget. Pretty much, Chrono. Yes.
Gadget dice.
I'll buy another die. No, I need another roll. That's not good enough. Whatever.
Okay, it's in double digits now. That's all I wanted.
Okay, you've got a design now. To get it built quickly, you're probably going to need a team from the mechanics bay and possibly some other helpers to help out and follow your instructions
Delegation.
to the letter. Obviously, you'll be doing the core of the work, but you'll need some stuff done in parallel so that when you're ready for the next bit to come in, it's there for you.
Is this going to require some kind of social skill?
A leadership role, yes.
What is leadership?
It's the thing you've seen Masha doing.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
intimidating.
so I just
people.
shout at them and then threaten them with a gun until they do
Very
it.
rarely does Masha shout at people, and she usually threatens them with a knife.
Yeah, you know you're really in trouble when her voice gets quiet.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that was a very emphatic nod from Knight there.
It's true of both Masha and Drut.
It's fine.
So if you don't have the leadership skill, then there is the unskilled.
Of course I don't have the leadership skill. What kind of... what? Okay, unskilled. Oh, I did
There
pretty
we
well
go.
for an unskilled person.
Yes.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, so there's a line of the ship's mechanics waiting for your orders. You
They're
start
just used
barking
to
out
me.
orders and telling them to make various bits and bobs. They don't necessarily know what the point of the bits you're telling them to make is, but they make the bits you're making. Let's see how well they make them.
Maybe they're just familiar with my way of getting things done.
I hope this design has included like a feeding tube and a window so that we can speak to him so he's not alone.
That's all the extra time was for. It was me going, oh, hang on, wait, this'll work, but it's missing loads of amenities.
Not marketable enough yet.
Oh my god, this is going to be one of the first marketable, like, because it's going to be basically an iron lung, so it's going to be a mobile, can't remember what they're called anymore, the pressurized chambers for the, we could totally
pressure
sell
chamber.
this to make money
Please
to
stop being
diving
the
companies
pressure
and ship.
chamber. To be fair,
This is
The-
is the birth of Mermec technology.
to be fair, the patient might not be with it enough to think about not doing such things in the chamber. Especially if he's under a significant amount of pain medication. Which he
That's
may
true.
be. Hyperbaric, thank you, Moliere, yes. That is
It's
the
also
word.
got an airlock so we can send someone else in.
It's not that big.
The airlock is just a tube that can also be pressurized.
I was thinking the same thing. You have to crawl through.
So, given the space and the materials available, it's only big enough for one person. Hence my previous reference of coffin sized. It's literally person sized. You wouldn't get much more out of it, given the space you've got to work in and the materials to work with.
I can't imagine an airlock that is for like a small container of food or like a plate. You like on one side, put it in there, close it, seal it, pump it full, and then he can open it on the other side.
Is this over-engineered? What, you asked me to make it. What were you expecting?
And yet, weird science is always over-engineered. That's one of the beautiful things about weird science. It's completely over-engineered.
Love it.
So, can I have a healing roll from Dr. Uttercup, please? Again, chips are usable. If you're not happy with the roll, chips are usable.
I'm better at sciencing than the medic
There's
is at
chips
medic.
going in all over the place.
There you go.
I got double digits. I'll go with that.
That seems to be the safety level. Is it double digits? No, more chips. Double digits? Yes. Okay. we're good.
Look, we've had chips to spend for a long time, and it's kind of unfair that I'm unlucky and get less chips than everybody else, but they've been building up. So,
Yeah. And it's cool that you folks are using the chips because they're there to be used. Right. So, while there's all sorts of clanking and welding and sparking and weird noises coming from the lab and engineering base, this chamber is being built. Shard, you're in medical with your patient, administering pain meds and various other medications to keep him docile and from causing himself further injury. Currently, he is now asleep. And will probably need to be manually put into the chamber rather than able to crawl into it himself.
right.
His life signs are erratic, but he's not in immediate danger yet. That
Okay.
could change though.
Oh, definitely.
It's going to need round-the-clock observation, not from just yourself, but you've got a
Right.
team here. But between your team, it will require round-the-clock observation.
Especially looking out for, because if any of the gas expanded in an area, he could get a stroke from this.
Exactly, and that's why you need the round-the-clock. Robinson, this is going to
Yeah.
be a long build for you, because you're aware of the time constraints on the health of the individual concerned. And given that you've already had a long day, can I please get a vigor roll from you?
Okay. Bigger is that one there.
Nice, nice. Not bad.
I'll go with that.
Yep.
That's a number.
That's a raise right there. That's you are not gonna faceplant your desk while piecing this thing together.
It's okay, I'm used to all-nighters.
He's drinking one of those Ghost Rock espressos.
This is what Lucasade is for.
I thought Spookazade.
Spookazade. There we go, Spookazade.
Cute.
A drink for was it Deadlands Noir? That's the later version.
Yeah, Fish to point out that Deadlands Noir is basically along the same timeline as same time as this, roughly.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
Yeah, I have borne this in mind.
Duly noted. So, there's work going on all over the place. Merlin
All
is
for one stupid pirate.
Clearly someone had a itchy trigger finger. If they'd been accurate rather than sending a warning shot, it might have been a very different situation. So, Merlin is building a pressure chamber. Mithra is doing medical stuff with the patient. That leaves, at least on board the airship, Monroe. What are you doing? The Hakuge is safely docked. Everyone's off.
Everybody's off. I'm gonna stay on. I'm gonna kind of like sit on, like with the doors open and just kind of sit on the edge and just, you know, keep the gun in sight and just keep my eyes on it.
Okay, from where you are, sort of sat with your legs dangling off the edge of the plane, you can see where the safe has been put on the deck, and there's various crewmen looking at it, clearly discussing amongst themselves, guessing as to what might be in it.
Yeah. I do have the impulsive trait.
Crack it
Very
open.
tempting. It's very tempting.
Crack it open.
Look at the crowbars that came back up with me.
The sun,
Look at-
I say the
like,
sun,
are
the interior lighting glints slightly off the crowbar and it goes ting as you look at it.
So where are the 6 people that we picked up right now?
They've been marched off to a secure room.
Okay, so I don't need to worry about them right now.
You don't need
so
to
I'm
worry
gonna
about
grab
them.
the crowbar and I'm gonna go and try to break the safe open.
Granted, the crew, we could have some crew members that be like, oh, they're not going to miss one chunk of gold if there is actually gold in there. So you gotta.
Yeah, but Moody's not gonna think about that.
Yeah, no, we would not think about that.
She doesn't have you there to tell her that her decisions are bad decisions.
I'm busy trying to manage someone else's bad decision.
I know you are. So she's left to her own devices, and this is a dangerous thing. So I'm gonna kind of, all right, stand aside and stick the crowbar in.
Okay, let's have an outright strength roll.
Okay.
That's pure brute force, and
I don't know if I can get much better on strength, but I'm gonna try.
when you're rolling, even on stats, you've got what's called a wildcard die. So any die you roll, you're rolling a d6 to go with it. Because
Yeah, I clicked the strength, but it didn't do the d6 with it. So should I just roll a d6?
yeah, just roll a d6 with it,
Okay.
because it should do the wildcard die as well.
That's probably enough, but not enough to do it spectacularly. So I am still
No,
going to use that. chip.
That's not enough to crank it open. This is a safe, even
There
though
we
it's
go.
corroded and not quite all there. It's still fairly solid.
Ooh, there we go.
Honestly, it would probably
That's
the easiest way into
better.
a safe tends to be welding or having some lockpick skills.
Again, You're talking to Moody.
I know.
She wants
Yep,
to
that-
just
that-
break
that's
it
Betty.
open.
You get beads of sweat from the sheer extra. It's not shifting. It's going to need another way to get into it.
All right. Well, that makes her grumpy, so she's gonna sit on top of this safe. Still-
She's trying a different way. She's trying to hatch it.
I mean, I could really go off the rails and shoot it, but I think she might have some inkling that might be a bad decision. So that's
But
as
she
much
is
as she's
angry,
gonna
and
try
she
for it.
is, what was that word? Does things spontaneously.
Impulsive. I know.
Impulsive. Hmm.
But she's also ex-military, so I have a feeling that she might like get that shooting something that's made of metal that might ricochet
How many
inside an
stories
airship.
have you heard about
Actually-
ex-military people who are impulsive that shoot at objects because they're mad at them, regardless of safety?
You know, I hear you. You're convincing me, but I'm still not gonna do it.
I'm just trying to help here. I don't know what you're talking about.
So, Drut,
Agent of Chaos over here.
the repair bill for the airship after the explosion from the ricocheted bullet into the gas
Yep.
bags.
Yeah. Boom, shake, shake, shake. Well, everything.
I will take this
Kaboom,
opportunity.
kaboom.
Let's see, where's the picture gone? Here we go. If I just take chat away for a second. For those of you that are looking on screen, the big white gap in the middle of this airship that you can see the mouse cursor over, this is the hangar bay. This is also where the safe is that's about to be shot at.
Any chance you could share that?
I'm not shooting the safe. I'm not doing it.
Because of course it's not shared to us, so we can't see this.
It's the
It's the
bad debt in images.
bad debt cut
No.
away.
Bad debt cutaway.
Let's reshare that.
Oh, now it's
Sharing.
coming up. So yeah, it wasn't coming up.
Okay.
I see it on the stream.
So this big white area is the hangar bay, and the areas fore and aft are where the gas bags sit. Now, you may note that if the bullet was to ricochet forward or backward rather than up, it could hit a gas bag. If it ricochets up, it's just going to go through the skin, and if there's anyone on the maintenance gantries, they could be in trouble, but that's the worst that could happen. If it goes
I
forward
don't know
or
why
backward,
you
however...
all want me to shoot the safe. I'm
and
not
honestly,
shooting the safe.
If you shoot the safe, the ricochet is not going to cause a spark when it hits the gas bags unless it glances off one of the metal binding pieces holding them in place.
You
Which
do know
would-
bullets are hot. Hydrogen traditionally doesn't respond well to being suddenly exposed to hot things.
No, that's true. Not to mention
I'll
the
have to make
addition of
sure to stay
oxygen.
inside then.
Not to mention the addition of the oxygen into the bag with the bullet as the hydrogen's wanting to leave, and heat. I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Please,
What do you
please
call it?
throw in as many bennies as you require for reality to just flick over one notch, and for the gun to jam. Please.
You know,
Oh,
actually,
God.
You.
any one of us could probably flip a chip to say the gun jams as Moody just starts pulling the trigger at the safe.
It got a bit wet during the rescue.
I mean, anyone can flip chips in for a little bit of reality bending.
I am willing to throw in 3 for a lot of. There we go.
Okay, I think
Vasher
I
is
think
like,
we
"I
have
will
established
definitely
that.
protect the airship.
Oh.
That side that I reckon 3 chips thrown in is enough for a thunk rather than a backfire.
Just to make sure that you didn't waste your chips, I will allow. I will say, she like in a fit of like, oh, just open, is gonna pull the trigger and the gun's empty.
Fair
forgot
enough.
to
There we
reload
go.
it.
Yes.
That's cool. That's the
It's okay, I'll
And
invent
reality
a safe cracker
research.
next.
And then common sense kicks you in the back of the head and goes, excuse me?
Yeah, yeah. And she goes,
It's okay, I meant to do that.
Oh.
I knew it was empty.
yeah. Just, you know, I was just
What's
intimidating it.
Next
It's
option,
fine.
the chisel and pistol weapon.
She's gonna wander off and find Merlin and see if he can come up with a creative way to open the safe.
Okay, next session we're going to be robbing a bank with my brand new safe cracker.
Yes. Oh, even better. Even better. This is even more to the whole Mermec Corporation idea, because we'll have underwater banks set up with underwater vaults and iron lungs for making sure that everyone's pressurized properly before going back up to the surface after the visit to get their money.
Giant
this is
diving
how
suits,
Atlantis was
underwater
born.
city. This
No
has
gods,
shade.
no
This
kings,
is making me
only
think
man.
of something. This is
Oh,
reminding me of
God.
something. Can't put my
Oh,
finger on it, but
oh,
I'm sure
no.
it'll come to me. Wouldn't you say, Sage?
What's it remind you of?
Drut, what's that?
Bioshock.
Ah, Bioshock.
That-
Right. There you go. There's 69.
Nice!
Oh,
Hooray! Oh look, there's the lender immediately. It happened exactly as I said it would.
It
it wasn't even deliberate, actually. That just happened.
Perfect. Everything I wanted.
Fair enough.
So, Lupa, you get to the lab where clearly Merlin is brains deep in bits and pieces, and he's got his head deep into this project.
Hey, do you have anything that can crack open a safe?
Yeah, it's called a blowtorch. What?
You don't happen to have any hydrofluoric acid, do you?
Do you
Look,
want
I
to help
was
with
reading
this,
the
or should I just...
But they did that.
I've learned so many things in this campaign. Now I know that acids can open safes.
No, acids will melt safes, not open them.
Yep. And if what you melt
Depends
is
on how
the
you do
rock,
it.
If you melt the space underneath the safe, we have to go diving again, which means you.
Or hire a lockpicking lawyer.
So are you suggesting a torch to open it, or what should I use?
If there's actually
I'd
people,
suggest not opening it now and waiting so that I can focus on your opening the safe task and not saving a life task.
All right, fine.
It just it
The
may
level
be
of
just 2
disappointment
words, but
was-
that was utterly worth a
palpable.
chip.
perfect. Oh, so
Alright,
good.
fine. It's so worth a chip.
Of course, it is well within my capabilities to design and build 2 things at once.
no.
It's where I accidentally mix up the pump with the blowtorch and then we just end up burning the guy alive.
Yeah, I mean the safe will probably pop open, but let's face it, if Ant-Man can do it with a fire extinguisher.
All right. Well, in that case, she's gonna go get lunch or something. Like,
Okay.
just wait for him to be ready to get the safe open.
Wait, but isn't Merlin one of the people that you're supposed to be trying to keep safe and protect?
Oh yeah. I mean,
He's
I'm staying
currently in
close enough.
danger of hurting himself because he's playing with tools.
You know, he made this whole ship. I'm pretty sure that he's not gonna permanently hurt himself in the process of creating this little chamber. So
So he didn't make the airship. He made the aeroplane. He didn't do the airship. The airship is a
yeah.
it's a
That's a
bit
good
like
point.
the Millennium Falcon. It's just a stock freighter that's been modified.
Yeah, that's a good point. He mostly did the inside bits, not the outside bits that require the heavy machinery, right? So maybe I will stick around with him a little bit. But I don't know, like Moody, like she will protect him from danger, but it's like she doesn't care.
I mean, honestly, if you want to get a sandwich, you probably should. You haven't eaten for like
Still get a sandwich. Yeah.
4 hours now, 5 hours.
That's a very
What I'll
good
do
point.
is I'll go get a sandwich and sit on top of the safe, swinging my legs while I watch him do whatever he's doing.
Okay, Robinson, it's going to take you about 8 hours to piece this thing together that you think should do the job. So in that time period, the airship will have made its way back to the airstrip and can have retaken aboard Masha if intended.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Who can then be appraised of any developing situations, including the fact that the safe is currently on the gantry in the hangar.
And there's a Mad Moody sitting on it eating a sandwich. Second sandwich by this time.
Nobody tell her I tried to shoot it.
Is that you won't tell her you tried to shoot it?
I think it was nobody telling you tried to shoot.
Don't tell her.
Right. Okay, I think we're going to need a chat with the crew. I'm also, however, thinking that might be quite a long scene, and
That could,
I
yes.
don't know how
Int-
long
Interrogation could be quite a long scene. We're currently at 20 after 9. We can go a little while longer if you need.
I'm just thinking my voice is actually on its way out.
Fair enough. In which case we can...
I was thinking that it would be a good place to stop at the success or failure of getting the guy in the iron lung.
Which, if there's not much due to happen over the next 8 hours, given that that then goes into nighttime, so most of the crew, including the rescuees, are going to be asleep. If we sort of fast forward to morning, with the orderlies assisting in getting James the diver, who's still out for the count, into the Merlin chamber.
Not the Merlin engine.
Getting in the Merlin engine is a very dangerous prospect.
At some point, the Merlin chamber may become a means of energizing the Merlin engine.
Just thinking getting in the Merlin chamber just reminded me I need to buy a food processor.
We are not going to process the poor diver in the food truck.
Solid
why
green,
does
anyone?
cannibalism always come up with you?
It doesn't. You not bring it up.
Solid green. The Hyper Merlin chamber. Yes, Chrono, yes.
I can see now. I have a mental image of the Hyper Merlin chamber being a chamber that's full of like some kind of
Lucozade?
stimulant narcotics, so that Merlin can
Lucozade.
get inside and operate at hyper speed.
So, with the patient successfully transferred, and with Masha getting ready to question the captives, and possibly with a slightly fatigued and still probably hyper Merlin and Moody ready to crack open the safe, we'll leave it there and see what's inside the safe next time. And indeed what the crew have to say to Masha.
No.
Oh, and since this is the next day, we still have the whole opening of the safe, which can go coincide with the racing that's happening.
Yep,
Oh,
the races
yeah.
start tomorrow as well. So, well, which I'm guessing might mean that Masha may not be racing if Masha is questioning the captives.
Does this
Masha
mean
might-
I'm going to have to do like repairs and upgrades on a plane on zero sleep?
Probably.
Depends on just how much of a ringer Midas puts it through when he returns. But
Why is that a question?
I mean, look, you could always just tell Midas to fix what he breaks, because he broke it. It's his responsibility, right?
I think he might want to win.
Anyway, folks,
Gosh,
let's wrap
next
things up there for
episode
the.
is gonna be so many cool things. It's gonna be all of like the culmination of everything that we've been working toward.
Yes, indeed. The races, the prize inside the safe, and many questions to be asked.
Turns
Midas
out
might
it's
want to
just
win.
concrete. Concrete block.
No,
Yeah.
no one's impugning his skill at flying this. Just
I'm impugning
the
his
negative
claimed
effects on
ability to
the.
keep up with his skill at flyingness.
Yeah, when you push an aircraft to its limits, it puts all manner of stress on every facet of that aircraft. Racing aircraft needs a lot of repairs.
Yeah, it gets stressed. You need to take it, give it a massage, maybe acupuncture.
You know, if they'd allow the various airships to be, what do you do with freaking race cars? The stops, the short stops?
Pit stops.
Oh,
Pit stop.
pit stop. Yes.
Then they could just have the bad dead hanging over where he's racing. He can go up for a pit stop to get all of the necessary done, and then fly back off again.
It's
See, I
way
was
too-
thinking the gyrocopter.
There is an
Kinda like
endurance
pedaling
race
along
listed
the
in
I
the.
just
side.
noticed if I put a Merlin engine in his plane.
Oh boy.
See, there is an endurance race listed for one of the events, and pit stops, refuel stops, repair stops may actually be a thing as a part of that race.
Who the hell are the chakras in a racing aircraft? It's not very big. Sorry.
Especially the Dagger, which is sort of all engine with a little bit of wing and
Yeah.
a teeny tiny cockpit.
Well, clearly it'd be in the wingtips then.
Anyway, folks, a lot of discussion to happen for next time.
Acupuncture the shots.
I possibly don't think you want to possibly not Chrono. No.
I'm glad that no one in chat is actually part of the game. They're making worse ideas than we do.
Fish is in
Actually,
chat.
that's the place I can see being the one that you don't do particularly well on, because the Dagger's got a really small fuel tank by comparison, hasn't it?
Compared to
I
some,
can
yes.
upgrade that.
And in terms of in-flight refueling, there are pictures of people carrying supposed to be a 20-gallon-ish jerry can and wing walking from one aircraft to the next to refuel in flight. In black and white pictures from the 1920s, I think. So that has been a thing. Purely to
Okay,
show
that
that it could be
sounds
done more than
terrifying.
anything else, but... So, folks, we will be back in 3 weeks. Next week we have, I believe it's due to be Mutant Year Zero.
Yeah, I haven't heard from Felix, but we should be on for Mutant Year Zero. If not, and this is not downgrading that, is not death wishing it. I will do a session 0 for Cyberpunk Red.
Nice to have a backstop.
Yeah,
Cool. Now, as
but
well
yeah,
as
it should be Mutant Year Zero.
as well as streaming here, pretty much everyone in the game also streams in their own right. I will be back on my channel, twitch.tv/nightbites, playing drums on Tuesday and hopefully Thursday next week. Drums to viewer requests, so rock in and we will completely rock out. Drat, what are you up to next week?
Tomorrow I should be back on Styx. And on Thursday I will be on Cyberpunk Red. Version 1.1 patch has now come down, and that seems to have improved its memory handling considerably, so it should be running even better than it was before.
Excellent, thank you. Robinson, do you have any streams coming up?
So at the moment I'm just playing another mobile game, but the new Satisfactory update is coming soon.
Ooh.
So I'm going to be starting over because they're adding new things like gases and packaging, and among other things. But the gases also comes with fracking, so that's going to be great fun.
Oh, interesting.
But I'm going to be resuming my destruction of a beautiful planet, or potentially starting over because of the new stuff added. So.
Cool.
And Lupa, what do you like to be up to this week?
I will be playing on Tuesday with Amy, and we're gonna raid into Night's stream, so it'll be about an hour and a half earlier than Night's usually starts.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure what we're playing yet. It'll either be Stardew or probably more Fall Guys. Whatever.
Fall
wins
Guys
for
is so
that
much
one.
fun. And last but not least, Lee Shard, what have you got coming up stream-wise, if anything?
I am not going to promise anything because every time I promise, I fail. So we'll see.
Fair enough. And I can see Drop's already dropped a donation link, so if you do want to help us keep the lights on, keep the channel running, then by no means is it required, but it does help us immensely. The link is there. Thank you very much. And Loop has dropped in a Discord link. Stop by, join us, say hi, and if you feel like joining a game, speak up, because we do one-shots and games off stream as well, so you never know, we might find you a seat. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Have a good time. Good night.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Hi.